Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing? It has been a while. I did not get to go live last week on Thursday because my dad was here. We did go live last week, but not on the day that we were supposed to. We went live because some crazy stuff happened in the Idaho case and we had to talk about it. But this is the first live this week, Thursday, the normal day that I tried to get to. Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. It has been an insane couple of weeks in this case. I feel like my brain is half melted. I really do feel like my brain is half gone from all of the information. It's been insane. It really has. So we are going to go over something that we've gone over live already, but now we have, I guess, the third installment of this. But this also goes into a couple of the other documents. So I have them open in a certain way to where I think there's like four. Yeah, there's 4 different documents that we're going to be using whenever we're going over the self-authenticating records. Now, this is the Linda Lane footage, the bank records, the crypto records, the early warning report, all of that crazy stuff that we went over, that has now been sort of like dwindled down. The state has now come in and taken a lot of stuff off of the list of things that need to be actually admitted. There's a couple more details for some of the other things. I found a couple discrepancies, go figure. So we're going to go over all of that stuff here. And yes, we're going to be talking about the mask purchase because they do have a mask purchase from a Dick's Sporting Goods in Pennsylvania, January of 2022. And that is just not enough for me. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry about it. If they are just going to grab like random things that make sense for him to own, that in turn have no actual proof behind, that's not good enough. The document that we just got about the bushy eyebrow stuff, we got more information about the way that Dylan was talked to and dealt with during the interviews. And according to what we've now been told, the whole word around the type of mask that's now being talked about was introduced to Dylan by a police officer. Now, this is also a type of mask that we've seen Dylan, her boyfriend, frat members, friends of the victims, friends of the survivors, people on Greek Row, all wear this mask. It's a very common mask. I mean, even in the comments of the video where we just talked about that, a lot of people are like, I have to replace these all the time. I wear them all the time. I live in cold weather. I like to go outside a lot. I walk a lot in the cold. I have to constantly buy these. It's a common thing. And my thing is that just like with this knife situation, they're not telling us that the knife is the USMC sheath knife. Why not? If that's what's so specific and what they've been pounding into our brains this entire time, and they're claiming that they have proof of a purchase, then all you need to do is show us the freaking receipt. Everyone knows what Amazon looks like. You don't need all these freaking experts and all this random bullshit and all these reports. Print out the freaking receipt. It can't be really all that freaking hard. And if it has the USMC logo and matches what they're claiming it matches, why aren't they telling us that in the documents? Why is it vague? Why is it the vaguest, most broad and generic description of that type of weapon they can give whenever we're supposed to be looking for something extremely specific? I don't like how they're doing that. It's still like they're using something coincidental that doesn't have any backing until we get to trial to keep it up. And just like with this mask, everybody in the mama has this mask. He bought it months and months and months ahead of time. And unless they have proof that he wore it that night and then found it and it has the victim's DNA on it, then I don't care. It's probably honestly one of the black masks that was taken from his parents' house that's on the inventory list. I know for a fact there was one. I feel like I remember reading that there was more than one black mask taken from his parents' house. Which another thing I find strange is that they're removing the surveillance from his parents' gated neighborhood from the trial evidence. Odd. So let's just go ahead and go through this document. Like I said, there's going to be a few of them that we're going to be referencing back and forth because they all sort of have a little bit of information on all the things. But the base document that we're going to be going over is this one right here. Now, I went in and highlighted this one for the stuff that I wanted to talk about. Members, I will try to remember to add this to the Google shared folder at the end of the live so that you guys can have access to just the one that I reference while we're, actually doing all of this. Give me just 1 second. This part right here, the stuff about the DoorDash and the TikTok, those have been like the biggest things this entire time. And now not only do we have like the initials of the freaking DoorDasher, the exact time that they're claiming that the DoorDasher showed up, but now like it's supposed to have been about Xana the entire time, but only Ethan's records are submitted. That's part of the information that we got the last time. Because remember the state, let me show you guys. I should already have the states up. Okay, this is the original one that we got from the state where we went through and our original ginormous questions were, why in the actual frick do they need to know what Dylan Mortensen bought at TJ Maxx? Why in the actual frick do they need to know what Kaylee bought at the pet store? Okay. Then whenever we went through the additional information that we got from the defense about these things, we found out that a lot of it didn't make a lot of sense, that it wasn't Ethan and Xana's DoorDash records. It was just Ethan's, but that the state was trying to use Ethan's records for Xana's timeline. And the only way that works is if Xana was the one who physically went to the door. Now, you're going to see in here that it says that it was Jack in the Box. And I am still going to stand my ground and say that there's no way that it's the same Jack in the Box bag that we saw in the mainstream. Just not only given the time, but the fact that this is coming from Ethan's account and it had Xana written in like black marker on the bag, somewhere like on the bag. And that looks like more of like a pickup thing. Normally, whenever you do a DoorDash order, it comes in your name. And that bag was next to a Starbucks cup that looked like it'd been sitting there for like 3 or 4 days. And it was crinkly and it looked old. It did not look like a freshly delivered 5 minutes before the freaking crime, less than 5 minutes before the crime, bag of food. In my opinion, given the time frame, there's no way that the Jack in the Box bag wouldn't have been in Xana's room because they would have like literally just gotten it. And then with the TikTok being off, that's insane to me. We've been being told the whole time, 412, car comes in at 404, TikTok, Xana, 412, camera, barking, loud thuds, noises, altercations, whimpers, 417. Now all of a sudden the TikTok timing for the authenticated records coming in is 316. So we're putting back some to like the original timeline almost. I am so confused about how everything that's supposed to be like a concrete definite, nope, all of it's gone. All of it's gone. Absolutely insane. I don't understand what's happening, what they're trying to prove. None of it makes any sense to me. And again, I saw some discrepancies in, I think it was the Costco timeline. I'll show you guys that whenever we get to it. Okay. We're going to go ahead and start this. What I wanted to do, and I didn't have time to go in and find this one specific video. I wanted to go in on the Linda Lane times and review the Linda Lane times, but I need to go back in and find like one of the most original sources of the Linda Lane footage because it's been so highly manipulated. And I need to go in and see if I can see any of this, but I feel like the Linda Lane camera that's pointing where like the dumpster is, there's a huge section of that one like taken out because that's like the time frame. And I feel like it is this time frame right here from like the last time that I checked it was like the 3:30 to 4 o'clock-ish, 4:07-ish time frame. So I don't really know if you're gonna be able to see anything, but you might be able to see something like around it, around those time frames. So I wanted to still like go in and take a look. And so I'm probably going to do that. And if I see anything different this time, because of now that we're looking at it a little bit of a different way, then I guess I'll do like a small video. But when it comes to Linda Lane, the 1320 Linda Lane footage, they're only looking at the 329 timestamp. And when it comes to the 1330, they're looking at everything past that from the 330 to the 407. And now we know that that now includes that 3:59 time that the DoorDash apparently got there. Now, ooh, hold on. Okay, now you guys can see it. Now, when we get to the Albertsons one, this is the same time frame that we were pretty much told that he was over there. But for some reason, again, when they talk about Costco, it's like a 30-minute difference. And I don't really know how they're going to calculate that after the fact because they have Albertsons in the PCA specifically, but they don't have anything about Costco in the PCA from what I can remember. But they have like a lot of it in there when it comes to the make and model of the vehicle. And then this stuff about like Kohberger's actual physical movements. We'll get there. There's a type of discrepancy. I'm jumping ahead. Okay, the Amazon records. So now we have this one where they have just his history from January 5th of 2022 to December 13th of 2022. And again, this Amazon account, I had heard somewhere before we got the most recent documents, and I can't remember if it was a document, if it was said in passing, if it was in like one of the court hearings. A lot of you guys remembered hearing it too, but I couldn't remember where. I looked for it. I couldn't find it, where they actually told us that this was a household account. Now, the way that it works for my house, because my kids were minors at the time that this was created, they used my login. Their little allowance cards for Cash App were on there. If they ordered their own thing on Amazon, they just use the exact same login that we all use, but they had it shipped to their name at our address along with like their card number being used. So that's how we sort of did it. So I don't know how a family account works where there's like multiple logins. That's not how we do it in our house. Someone mentioned that in theirs for her and her partner that they have different logins and that their purchase history doesn't affect each other's purchase history. But the way that my family does it with just the one login, anything and everything that my kids look at, I'm getting recommendations on my devices just because I'm using the exact same account. So again, this is a family account, and they mentioned something about how just because someone ordered something and had it delivered to their address and their finances or their financials were used to purchase the item doesn't mean too much. And I'm really sort of wondering if they're trying to hint at if there was something purchased, if there actually was a knife purchase, which it sounds like there was a knife purchase on Amazon. But what they're making it sort of sound like is like it was like a gift. Like if he did actually buy it and it is his banking account that bought it, that it was a gift for someone. But I don't know. They've got to prove that point. So then we have the click history where they're bringing in an Amazon employee and Michael Douglas, the federal agent. Now, the authentication certificates are at the bottom of this. This is why it looks like it's so big, like it's 70 pages, because a lot of it is literally just the people at the companies and the businesses, like for the security cameras, just authenticating that this is like a normal thing for us to have a security camera. This is really our business, just making sure that everything is, top notch and legit. Then we have the AT&T phone records for Bryan. I want to say that this is for Maddie, and I'm just going to go ahead and keep assuming that this is for Maddie. And some of you are probably wondering why I'm even saying that, because the DoorDasher's freaking initials are MM. And there's a name going around that a lot of people believe is the person who this MM actually is. It's a female. And that makes it a little bit confusing now whenever we read some of these documents, especially whenever we read conversations during the time frame and afterwards where we see MM's initials. Naturally, we're gonna want to assume that it's Maddie. But now that we have this little tidbit of information, we're gonna have to really go in and pay attention and make sure that all of the context clues around it actually are pointing to that. Lisa gifted 10 memberships. I very much appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And again, this being together doesn't mean anything other than the fact that they shared the exact same network. And again, this is just the certificates of authenticity. Nothing else is being talked about there. And then they also have the call detail records for both Maddie and Xana. Again, most likely Maddie. And I don't know why it says they were discovered on 2 different dates. If it's the exact same information, I guess maybe they got sent the information twice from the state. I guess that's possible. So now we have the bagel shop video surveillance. We had questions about if this was like during the day, what it was showing. Did it show Bryan doing whatever? Like, what were they trying to prove? Because, the state's trying to prove whatever they're trying to prove. And it turns out it's just for the girls. It's just for the girls between 1:40 and 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to assume, given the time of that, then that's going to probably be a business that maybe saw them get into the car, maybe could see them at the grub truck, because they get home at like, what was it, 1:56? I believe it's 1:56. And this was a little bit after that and a little bit before that. So yeah, this is going to be around the time that they were getting picked up. So it just must be like around the grub truck to sort of like just get the peripherals, I guess. Now here we're getting to another one where they've removed it. So they're no longer going to be admitting the bank records from Bank of America for Bethany or Xana. And they're not going to be submitting the Banner Bank records for Ethan. It was Ethan and his mom. They're no longer going to be submitting those. So now we have the Cafe Arista. And again, it's just for the 1:40 a.m. timeline for Kaylee and Maddie. Nothing to do with the suspect whatsoever. The Corner Club surveillance video. Now, we've seen that still shot. I believe it's Jack Decor. I know a lot of people don't think it's Jack. I think it's freaking Jack, okay? I don't see why anybody wouldn't believe that it's Jack. I know that some people really are convinced, but it's freaking Jack, okay? And a lot of people also made questions or had questions about the timestamp on the Corner Club video. I don't know if it's wrong. I know that there is a portion of these documents where they've actually gone in and I guess like collaborated. I don't even know if that's really the word that I'm looking for here. They verified if the timing on the security cameras are accurate or not. And on some of them, you can see it's like a few seconds ahead or like a minute and a couple of seconds behind. Like they have all that listed out. So I guess maybe the Corner Club maybe had an issue. But then again, well, how many cameras did they have? 14. 14. That's a lot of cameras, but it is a bar. Now, this next one I found interesting, and I'm going to jump to page 32 here and show it to you guys here in a second because of the timing. So this is the Corner Club financial transactions. Now, there's like 3 things here, and I don't know for why, because you can definitely tell, well, if, it would do its thing. You can definitely tell, am I on the wrong page? What's happening? That's not it. It's supposed to be a receipt. What in the freaking world is that? I don't know what happened there, but that's not the receipt. Did I write down the wrong number? I do that sometimes. Anyway, I'll find it here in a second while I'm scrolling. It's a Corner Club receipt. And it's got 3 rectangles on it. And it shows that Kaylee paid her tab at 12:22. Now, they didn't leave the bar again until, where the frick is it? They didn't leave the bar again. They didn't leave the bar until about over an hour after that. So, are we for realio? I'm just have to go slow. Like an old turtle. I had it literally like I typed it in there for a reason. But it also shows how much alcohol she drank. Well, scratch. How much alcohol she paid for, which was quite a bit. Now, I don't know if she was buying drinks for Maddie. And I'm telling you, it should be like right here. I'm going to have to like open this up, I think, again, because something must have happened to my paper. Hold on. But it shows that she bought like 9 well vodkas. And again, I don't know if she was sharing with Maddie or if Maddie is one of like the other tickets, because for some reason there's like 3. Wow. See, I don't know what the frick. This is the fresh one I just opened. And this is what mine's doing. I didn't do that. Anyway. All right. So let me flip this so I can show y'all what this is doing. Okay. So I don't know what this looks like. Can y'all see that? Yeah. So look, she closes this damn thing out. Like, it got reprinted the next day because they're all, wait. Yeah, it got reprinted on Monday the 14th because they're already doing their investigations. But 12:22 in the morning. That's an hour. She's still there for an hour. And you see how there's 2 more right here? Like, these are 2 other people's receipts. So I'm wondering if it's Jack, because obviously he was there. But if one was Maddie's, you would think that it would just be here. So I don't know why there's 3. But girl drank 9 of these well vodkas. And I'm going to just be on the nice side and say that maybe her and Maddie split them because there's like these 2 juices. I don't freaking know. I don't know what's going on. But she's also mixing what looks like, again, maybe mixing vodka and beer, which isn't good to do, and explains exactly why she could not stand straight. For real. And then on top of that, though, we know that Dylan was with Kaylee and Maddie and the rest of everybody else at the apartment next door at their friend's house earlier in the day. And with what we know now about how much alcohol Dylan consumed, I can imagine this is not the first alcohol that the girls had that day. So they were like for real gone. Like, I always had to like remember to go back and look at the Grub Truck video because they were swaying. They were really swaying, but that still doesn't really account for too much in the long run, because there's a few hours in between the Grub Truck video and them getting home, eating pasta, eating whatever else is in their house, relaxing. Now, we don't know if they did anything else after they got home, but if they just got home and didn't indulge in anything else and went on to just relax for the night, and then adrenaline started going crazy. Again, whenever you're intoxicated and then you get into like an adrenaline ridden situation to where your heart's just like pumping and you really are just like frantic, a lot of that goes away. A lot of it does go away. I missed something. Thank you for the $9.99, Bridget. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. But that's a whole hour. And I just found it interesting that it was a whole hour before they even left that she's paying her tab. And I'm almost wondering, like, was she having to be pretty much like cut off at that point? Did they feel like she had drank too much for her own good and had to stop her from buying anymore? I'm not saying that that's a thing, that actually happened, but seeing how much that she was swaying, seeing that this is a whole hour before they actually took off to the food. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. All right, so let's go back to mine, even though for some reason that page is completely just bonked out. I have no idea why. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay, Corner Club. Okay. So now we have the Costco. I'm going to show you guys where they have like a discrepancy in this, because I don't know like what they're going to do with this little bit of a amount of time. So the Costco in Clarkston, like the Albertsons is like right here on the map, like if you're looking at the map, and the Costco is like up the street in like a bigger building, but really not far, literally not far at all. And it's all in that same area where like the coffee shop was and everything like that too. But this says that they're going to rely on footage from approximately 11:59 a.m. And the problem that I have with that is that they have here on the document for the make and model of the vehicle, where they have like different addresses for all of the camera stuff. They have Costco starting at 12:34. Right here. They have an individual matching the description of Kohberger enters the main entrance of Costco. The individual appears to approach the front door from the northeast portion of the parking lot. So if they are going to be starting to rely on footage from around 30 minutes before that, are they going to try to say that he was in his car for 30 minutes before he went inside? Because it goes only like, what, 30 seconds or so, and then says an individual matching the description of Kohberger appears to be denied entry into the Costco and leaves out of the entrance and returns to the northeast section of the parking lot. So I guess maybe he didn't have his membership on him or something, because you can't really like, well, that's a lie. My mom used to actually get her medications at Costco, even though she had a Sam's membership. The Costco had a pharmacy, and when she got out the hospital from having like pneumonia and having to be on all kind of medications afterwards, Costco was the cheapest. And they allow you to use the pharmacy, or they did before the vid, allowed you to use the pharmacy without having a membership. But then again, that was a place in Texas, and I don't know what they do in Washington, but there's a story for you. But I don't know, just the 30-minute difference there. I don't know if they're going to, again, try to say that he sat in the car for 30 minutes or what, but there's a 30-minute difference there. So now I worded my thumbnail the way that I worded it because I saw Intoxicated Turkey's thumbnail, and he's sitting there trying to make it seem as if Kohberger wrote about like the perfect crime and how to navigate the scene as like the person being the piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like through the eyes of a criminal. And that's not the case whatsoever. That's not the case whatsoever. I'm going to show it to you guys here in just a second. This is the student records regarding Bryan, and they have submitted this trying to claim that it's proof that he has knowledge of a crime scene. Okay, well then that means that everyone who is literally sitting in that courtroom, at the bench, at the tables, anybody with a label that's a lawyer or a judge or anything else has this exact same knowledge. Okay, because all that this is, it's no different right here. It's no different than the other thing from DeSales that he did as a class assignment. Remember the survey? The one he did as a group project that people seem to be forgetting was a group project with like 2 other people's students' names on it and the name of, I believe, the teaching assistant for that class. It was not something that he created on his own. And according to people that teach this subject and have gone to school for this subject to that point, have all said this is normal as shit when it comes to an assignment. Okay. This is not a way to navigate a crime scene as a villain, as a red rummer, as an R-worder, as the person who's trying to do harm. This is how to navigate the crime scene as a police officer, as someone who is supposed to be protecting the crime scene. This is about keeping your booties on and not stepping on evidence or messing up physical evidence, making sure that the crime scene is completely sealed off. This is how you approach it as a police officer. This is technically everything step by step. Okay, that should have been followed when it came to the King Road crime scene. Everything that this police department failed to do is literally written here in a very coded and very organized way that maybe they should put it in their manual. Like, so serious. It even says what equipment needs to be had for the investigation, not what equipment needs to be had in order for you to get away with murder. What equipment needs to be had in order for you to investigate the murder fully and get the guy. That's what these instructions are for. So the simple fact that, again, somebody like him and who knows who else, however many else, they're going to take this school assignment that was given to him and try to flip it into something that it's not. And again, Intoxicated Turkey Man is an ex-cop. So for him to be out here misconstruing what this is pretty gross. And I'm pretty sure that McDonough is going to do it too, because that's what they're good at. They know better because they lived the life to where these things are something that they learned, and they're choosing to flip it for their benefit instead of just being honest about what it is. So stupid. But that's what this is. I mean, do you know a criminal that would purposely bring a 35mm camera? Do you guys remember? I remember going on field trips as a kid. I really wish this was still a thing. They had the disposable cameras, and you could go to Walmart, and they had them just in like these little like vertical stacks of all these little plastic disposable cameras. And they had the green ones, and they had the cheap brands, and they had the yellow ones that were the Kodaks, and they cost like, I don't know, anywhere between like $2 to $6, just depending on what brand you get. And you could take like 24 to 35 pictures. That shit was fun. I miss the little disposable cameras. I used to take them everywhere. I had them all over the place. I love those things. But again, I just find it ridiculous that people are going to take this school assignment and try to turn it into, oh, he knew exactly how to do the things that he did. No, this is an assignment on how to catch the guy who's doing the crazy things that he's being accused of doing. I can't believe that people are just so, it's humans, man, just humans. I just don't understand it. Okay. Now let's see where we were. I shouldn't have to go back down for another one anytime soon. I think we're safe going in order for now anyway, until we get down to the Moscow traffic stop. And then there's something that I want to show you guys. Okay. Okay, now the Dick's Sporting Goods thing. Again, this is from January 10th of 2022. Like we've already said, and like I've already said at the beginning of this, in the recent information that we got about Dylan's eyewitness bushy eyebrow boo-boo, it was made to where it seemed as if the detective, Goop, I call her, showed and asked Dylan about this very certain type of mask, this balaclava mask. And it wasn't until December the 1st that they had Dylan draw that ridiculous sketch that looks like an Among Us character. And I don't understand how you're going to ask her about something days and days after the crime occurred, not have her give a sketch or a description of this thing like on day one. Like, you interviewed twice, I believe, on the day of, and you didn't get this description of this prior to the 1st of December. Like, I just, at this point, she's talking about firemen and shit and vacuums. Like, I can't trust what she's saying. So just because they have some mask that she might actually have known about or not known about, but then drew a sketch weeks later after it was put into her head. No, they got to do better. I want to see something that they can actually prove he owns that has something of the victim's DNA on it. Give me something that proves that he was actually in the location besides something that can be explained away by going to the grocery store or going to pump gas. I need something better. I need something better. So now they're taking out the Discover financial records for Kaylee. And now again, we have the DoorDash information. One of the few things in here that are just absolutely insane to me. Okay. The DoorDash information again. And I'm going to show you guys to like remind y'all that they did not turn in Xana's. Luckily, this crap is in alphabetical order because it makes it not so hard to find. Right here. So the state, this is the state's original list. The state came in and said DoorDash records for Xana and Ethan. Okay. The defense came back in and said, no. This only has Ethan's. And it goes all the way back to 2019, before Ethan would have even started becoming a college student, way before he would have met Xana, way before he would have been staying there, since he wasn't currently being a member of the actual frat house at the time. Okay, we have to remember that. And nothing in here at all about Xana. Then we have the actual record talking about a 3:59 a.m. delivery. And I lied because we do have to go back down there again because of the stupid receipt. So I'll have to go back there and show it to you. It's Jack in the Box. And I just don't understand because whenever we went through, and I need to go back in my videos that I did about this, whenever we went through the PCA, like before we had all these other specifics and all this other information, we went through the PCA to show that the car in the PCA could not have gone to Jack in the Box because the only one that was open at the time that this stuff happened was the one in Pullman, if I can remember correctly. And the car never went north of the Steptoe Apartments. The car stayed south. And the Jack in the Box in Pullman was north of Kohberger's apartment. So, you know, we cut that out way a long time ago. And then also sort of like determined that the car never really stopped. Sort of. Oh, crap. My whole thing just went crazy. Like the car never really like stopped on King Road, really, a little. I don't know. It's all very confusing. But I just don't know. I just really don't believe that this Jack in the Box order is the Jack in the Box order that we see in the mainstream videos. I really just don't. That thing looks like it's been sitting there forever. Literally forever. And again, I know it's like really blurry, but you can see 1122 King. There's the address. It would cost $22.35 for the full order, and it was dropped off or at least marked as delivered at $3.59 even. $3.59 even. So then we have to also look at, let's see, where is it at? Which one is it? I have a lot of this open. I probably need to shut some of this off. Let's see. I want to show y'all how they actually have a 3:59 timestamp in here for that exact same timing about how they see headlights traveling south on Walenta and then the headlights again traveling north on Walenta. So if a car is just now showing up and then instantly turning around, is this not the DoorDash car being inputted into the make and model information for the suspect vehicle? Am I seeing this wrong? Like, why is this in here? Because to me, this would be the Dasher car. And the only other thing that I can really think of again is that it had to have been obviously from Ethan's account, but that Xana was the one who ended up going to the door and opening the door for this MM person. That's the only thing that makes sense for how they're trying to use this as a timeline for Xana, because it's not really a timeline for Xana unless they have proof that Xana was the one who answered the door. And the only one that can really attest to that is the Dasher, because the account came, you know, the account was Ethan's. So there's that. Okay, let's go back up here. Ooh, I'm gonna have to flip it. Okay. Let's see you. This thing got all screwed up again. I don't know why this does this. I probably need to fix this. Hold on. I want it to be as big as it'll let me make it. And every time I change the page, I feel like it changes my access. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So at least now we have a time. But still. Now we have the early warning record, and that was for Bryan. And that was just like a strange random thing because we went live and we talked about that. And that's never we went over the financials, like all of the banking records that were actually search warrants, at least that were on the public interest site versus like what was being submitted when it came to that original list of these records from the state. And the early warning records was, again, something that I didn't really know existed. Like, it's completely different than checking your credit. This is something that's done with just the banking companies. And unlike your like yearly credit report or annual credit report that you can get from the government, you can be denied access to this report, even though it's your own information. And the story that we found whenever we were going over it was that there was a woman that was denied getting a bank account, and she couldn't figure out why, because that paper that comes in the mail whenever you get declined for something, it just said like too many derogatory remarks or negative accounts or something like that. It didn't have the actual reasoning. She got a lawyer. She went to try to figure it out. It turned out that they had an early warning record report of her doing something like fraudulent with checks. And then she had her lawyer be like, okay, well, prove it. You're saying that you've got this report against her. She can't get a bank account to be able to get direct deposit and pay her bills, all the things. Prove it. They had no proof that she'd ever committed check fraud. It was a fraudulent report, a fraudulent derogatory mark on her own record, and it was something that she couldn't even see. So instantly, whenever this popped up, I'm thinking there's got to be fraud or something happening here. And it was really interesting because even though this is being taken out, Bryan's crypto account is still in here, still admissible evidence. And I'd really like to know for why. It's very interesting. Then we have the Elon financial records for Kaylee. That was the one that was for one of Kaylee's relatives, which was weird. Like, why do you have that in there? So then we have ENS Services, which is a company in Pullman. It is surveillance for the 5/26 timeframe for the car, apparently like pulling back into Pullman after the U-shaped thing they're claiming that the car took, which, okay. Now, Farmers Insurance. I was just talking to my friend about this one because this is like an example of the unnecessary stupidity that is this case, okay? Farmers Insurance was literally just surveillance footage, okay? When it comes to the amount of information that was just in the reports for Farmers Insurance, there was 2 files. One of them had 641 separate videos, and the other file had 175 separate videos. This was handed over to the defense to drown in to try to figure out what the frick the state wanted to actually do with it, just for the state to then turn around and say, never mind. That's just one example of the ridiculous stuff. Hey, Southern Sass, 15 months. It's a long time. So far, you're my longest relationship. Isn't this insane? Isn't this insane? All of this crazy stuff, all of these terabytes of data, and 90% of it, if not more, is going to be junk. Junk that's not needed. Now, the next one we have is the Cannabis Co. I find it interesting that they still have this one in here. It's almost like they're trying to, well, I mean, I guess they have to, but they're trying to really say Ann was wrong. That's what they're trying to do. Because Ann Taylor has already stood up in court. I feel like it's been a while now, over a year, way before we had the change of venue. But she stood up in court and said, that car at the cannabis shop, that's not Bryan's car. Sorry, try again. So they're still going to have it in here. So I guess they're going to try to claim that they have proof that it's Bryan's car, even though his attorney is saying it's not. It's not at all. Welcome, Tabitha. Thank you for joining. And don't forget, members, I'm going to add the one that I'm reading off of that I have all the highlights and stuff on. I'm going to add it to the shared Google thing. So just, I guess, I'll drop a link in the members only post whenever it's actually in there. Anyway, they're keeping this one in here. I don't know why. I guess maybe, again, they're just going to try to prove her wrong. But again, that's sort of like their job. So then we have the crypto account. And it's kind of weird because the only person that seems to want to talk about any of Bryan's financials, it's not a financial advisor, expert witness type guy or anything like that. It's just this Michael Douglas Fed. Like he has something to say about like all kinds of things, all kinds of random subjects, Amazon, crypto, banking, regular jack of all trades, I guess. Freaking feds. They're just going to literally input one anywhere they can where they know that they have to kind of like make sure that their bullshit doesn't shine, I guess. It's the only thing I can really think of. Okay, the Grub truck video. We'll probably go back in and clip this time frame, since now this is the time frame that they're looking at, 1:43 to 1:53 a.m. And again, they're only doing it for timeline purposes. Now, we were questioning what about Harbor Freight and Bryan Kohberger were they trying to tell us? And then it turns out that they're taking it completely off the table. Then we also have the Idaho Central Credit Union off the table. Indian Mountain Lake, that's his parents' gated community gate, actually, like where visitors that come into the neighborhood have to, like, I guess, sign in or some crazy shit like that because it's all gated community, really gated community. They don't want it. So anytime that Bryan has like left, signed in and out, had a visitor, all the things, they're not going to be using it. Maybe because they have their own from whatever they were doing before they arrested him. But you'd think that they would have that in there. I don't understand that. Joann's Fabrics. Remember we were asking, what the frick are they going to try to tell us that he did at Joann's? That he went and bought a bunch of material and made his own outfit for the job? Is that what they're going to try to tell us? No, because now they've removed it completely. They've removed it completely. Okay. Let me tell y'all I got my hopes up today. Let me tell y'all I got my hopes up today. Okay. Most of y'all know I've been trying to get that damn Moscow traffic stop information for a while. I filed a FOIA not long ago, and it was denied because it was still considered part of the case under the gag order. Okay. This document, I tried, y'all. All right. I'm going to show y'all that I tried. This document signed by Ashley frickin' Jennings at the prosecutor's office is calling the body cam and the traffic citation information public record. What? I ran, y'all. I ran to my email when I saw this earlier today, and I emailed Latah County, and I said, I'm going to show it to you. I want it opened all the way. How do I make it open big? Okay. I wrote them. And I said, I want this bigger so y'all can see it. And I don't know if I can make this part bigger because this is a completely different screen. Anyway, whatever. I said, hello. I'd like to see if I'm now able to obtain this record. According to a document filed in the Idaho v. Kohberger case, this is being considered a public record. I would like to request this again. I have attached the document filed by the court and signed by Ashley Jennings. Here is a snapshot, and again, a link to the document in Idaho's public interest site is also attached. Do I need to submit a form again? Please let me know. Thank you. She instantly, look, guys, I sent this at 1:49 p.m. I don't know if y'all can see that. 1:49 p.m. She got back to me at 1:53. Hella quick. Hella quick. You would need to submit a new request, and I would ask that you attach the snapshot. I will look into it in the meantime. No problemo. I ran, got a new one, sent it over in a brand new email. Let me show you guys that one. Now, obviously, it didn't work because we're not watching it. But I'm showing you guys that I tried because they said that it was now. No, not that one. Hold on. Sent. Right here. Okay. Now this one. Is it that one? Yeah. Okay. Right here. I sent a fresh request and I asked her, damn it, I closed it again. I'm not good at this. Hold on. Share that damn thing. Okay. So I sent the request again, asking if it was available. And let me make sure that my name isn't actually on her full-on response because I don't really want that on there. Okay. Yeah, I can show it from this part right here. Okay. So It says, I received your public records request dated today asking for the body cam, dash cam, and any other recordings or documents and reports for citation tickets related to the traffic stop that took place on 8/21/22 in Moscow, Idaho at the corner of Farm Road and Pullman Highway regarding Bryan Kohberger. It has been reviewed by the prosecuting attorney's office and denied because of the signed non-dissemination order signed by Judge Marshall, a copy of which is attached. Yeah, we know about it already. Even though the record is considered a public record, as long as the non-dissemination order is in place, it is not actually releasable. So yeah, I tried. I don't know why they said it was public if it's not actually public, because all that did was make me upset. I really thought I was going to be able to get it, because I'd love to know what's like the holdup, like what's the big deal. Oh, I think I got a thingy in here. Okay. So yeah, I tried to get it, and if something changes and it lifts, then I guess that they don't keep requests, because she said that I was going to have to send in another form in order for her to be able to see if she could actually let me have it. So I'm just going to have to keep an eye on things. I tried. I really tried. Okay. The Marshall's financial records. We were questioning again. What did he buy at Marshall's? What are they trying to tell us? Apparently nothing, because now they've completely taken it off the record. Now we have the National Weather Service records for that night. Now, I know a lot of people have come out and said that there was like cloud cover and you couldn't really stargaze or whatever. And I know I did a video on this. I'm gonna have to go back in and find it. And I'm also gonna, if I can't find it, I'm just gonna go find the information all over again, because I know that it's out there. There was some sort of like meteor or comet thing or shower. I think it started with a P. I almost want to say the Palisade. I don't freaking know the word, okay? I just know that this is like something that's done on a schedule in the freaking solar system, and a lot of people can see it around that time frame. And that night, the night of the 13th, there's people from the local area that have small snippets of camera footage and pictures of the sky, of this comet thing or whatever the frick it is up in the sky. So obviously, it was clear enough for, the star people, the space people, to be out there paying attention in order to take pictures and talk about this thing. There's forums where people went in and made comments. Like, we looked up all this stuff way back when. Jeez, it's been forever now. This case is so, that one right there. I think it's this one. Yeah. Y'all got it. See, y'all got it. Y'all got it. There's a lot of people that say that it was like impossible, but I'm like, but there's photos and there's videos and I saw them with my own eyeballs. What do you mean it's impossible? But then again, they also didn't actually say that he was out stargazing that night. That's just something that's being sort of, in my brain, sort of like misinterpreted, because they're using it as more like he goes out there and he does this thing, that him being out there at night is not abnormal. I could be wrong, but I really don't feel like the document alludes to, oh, he went out there with his telescope just to stargazing. But then again, if he knew of a spot from talking to local people that also go out there and watch this thing on like a routine, like my hometown down in Kerrville had a whole thing sponsored by NASA for this thing, and it was like a flop. Nobody showed up, nobody really cared, but NASA came in and did like a whole thing at the Louise Hayes Park down in Kerrville for this. It exists, it's there. Thank you for the 1999 1,000 Julys. You are so in your element and are so appreciated. Well, I appreciate that. I just want to get down to the truth. All this stuff is wild. Like, they had us flipping out about, why do you need to know this stuff about TJ Maxx? And remember, we had a date. We had, what was it? October 18th of 2022, Dylan Mortensen bought something at TJ Maxx. Why was that even part of the evidence to begin with? That's insane to me. That's wild. Thank you for the $4.99 C tires. I very much appreciate it. I appreciate it. But yeah, you guys knew which one I was talking about. But there's like, I think it went from like the 11th to the 17th or something. It might also be this one. It's this one. This is the word. This is the word. Y'all got this one. Leonide. Uh-oh. Careful, Lisa. I mean, honestly, somebody would have had to have. It seems like something that's like a word of mouth type thing because it's kind of far from the town. Definitely something like the college kids would have been like, hey, let's go check out the park, or let me show you the park since you're new in town type thing, It's very possible. I mean, I'm up all the time. I can barely sleep half the time. It's hard to like actually go to bed at night. If you are like constantly going 24/7 during the day, it's hard for your brain to just slow down. A lot of people, they go for drives all the time, middle of the night. It's just wild to me. So I'm interested to see what the weather is going to say. Because I know that there was some cloud cover in some spots, but then there wasn't in other spots. So I guess we'll find out exactly what it was on the route that he was supposed to be on. So then we have KC. I didn't notice the first time I looked at this that this was wrong. What's number 32 for Numerica? KG. See, just something as small as them making a typo. I'm like, who the frick are you talking about? See, it's just Kaylee. They're no longer putting her financials from Numerica Bank. Now, this is PayPal, and I believe that this is Kohberger's number 33. Yeah. It's just Kohberger's, right? Yeah. So this is just his PayPal information. Then we have his PNC bank records, just his. And again, this Michael Douglas guy, he's just going to come in and talk about all of Bryan Kohberger's financials, which is odd. Now, this is what's weird to me. Okay. They are. Okay, so see, it does have like a C. Okay, November 6th or the 30th, producing its peak rate of meteors around the 17th, so just a few days after. See? Yeah, there was a lot of people that were talking about that meteor shower thingy. I always forget what it is. Oh, the cars. The white car, from what I'm understanding, I believe was Bethany's. I could be wrong. As far as I could tell, as far as I know, Dylan didn't have a car there, or maybe at all. The white one was Bethany's, the little blue one was Xana's, and then of course we had Ethan's Jeep and Kaylee's Range Rover. I'm sure if I'm wrong about the white one being Bethany's, somebody will tell me here in a second in the chat. But I'm pretty sure. Oh, Carly says she thought it's Maddie's. It could have been Maddie's. I'm not quite sure. Everybody's focus was so much on the Range Rover and the Hunter and Ethan's Jeeps being taken by the defense that I kind of like forgot about whose car the white one was. But it is interesting because if you look at the white car that's in the parking lot and you compare it to the car on the 11/12 camera footage of it coming in, shit looks the same. Shit looks the same. It was Maddie's. Okay. So I don't know. But the whole thing with Ethan and Hunter's Jeeps being taken in by the defense has always been an interesting little tidbit. I don't think it was Ethan's sisters. I don't believe so. That one, the black one, would have been Ethan's sisters. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Hey, Lisa. It's good to see you. Last time I saw you, you were real sick. It's good to see you. Are you just copying and pasting this comment in here? Because I know I damn well touched this one as soon as I started this live stream an hour ago. Phone turned off when, Lisa? They see, that's another thing too. They have his forensic download of his phone, and they still are not coming out and telling us whether he actually lost service or his phone was turned off. And they can tell that by now. They could tell that as soon as they had the forensic download of his phone, which action took place there. So I don't know why that they're still playing games about that one. They should just be able to just tell us at this point. I still believe he lost service because he wasn't going that direction until they actually put him at King Road with something other than a tower that touches miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. Then I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. Yeah, Enan Harsh was a master chef, and Bryan Kohberger got fired from being a fillet guy at a fish place because he had no dexterity in order to actually be able to use a blade. Turns out he has an actual physical diagnosis that considers dexterity issues to be like the actual problem that he has physically, which that's going to be coming whenever we go over all of the neurological information. I started going over the last big document that had a lot of his neurological information, and then the newest documents just dropped, so there's more that I need to add to it. But they did like total brain mapping, like actual brain mapping, and he has at least 3 of the diagnoses that they are talking about in there, and one of them is like a full-on dexterity problem, which you've already sort of heard about in his like visual snow issue when it comes to like being able to see reality and being able to function physically in reality. And then knowing that he got fired from working at a fish market place because he didn't know how to use a knife in order to fillet a fish worth of shit. So he could not work there because he was cutting up all the fish and it didn't look good. Didn't look good. Yeah, it looks like he goes very slow. It looks like he takes the pen and writes very slow. They have his signature on his ID that they have in here, and also in the Washington registration paperwork for his car. So we'll definitely be looking at it. Oh, it was a few hours. 2:47 and 2:54 is the 7-minute time frame that they're like arguing of when it actually went off of network. But it was like a few hours before it came back on network. We're going to go through all that again. There's a document that basically just reiterates the whole pinged 12 times thing in the PCA, but brings it up to 23, and it starts in July before he even moved to King Road. That's another one of the documents that we have to still go over. It's one of the newest ones. And that's what it says, that between like July 9th of 2022 until then, that his phone technically pinged or whatever with the towers 23 times, but he didn't move until August. So that's basically telling me that just him and his dad going down to look at the school, his phone pinged on the tower of King Road before he was even moving into WSU's apartments. So until they can actually put him like in King Road, that whole thing about the 100 meters or whatever that people are misunderstanding, it's one of those things where people are not reading like the context around what's being said, and they're pushing things together, and they're coming out here and they're regurgitating it incorrectly. What the document actually says is that there is a like 100-yard radius on a map that is circled around the house that's labeled crime scene. And then it goes on to talk about a different subject, which is this 23 whatever on the tower thing situation. It's 2 different paragraphs, 2 different subjects, but some people are coming in there and taking it, oh, he was inside this 100 whatever radius of the house in this circle. That's not what the frick it says. It's not what it says. It's not what it says. Everything that I'm finding is saying August that he moved to WSU, because they have a purchase in Pennsylvania on June, I believe, the 24th or 26th. And he, I believe, got the phone turned on, the phone that's in all of this, in June also. But I'm pretty positive he moved to WSU in August. Yeah, he can't say that because he doesn't know that. Well, I mean, I'll show it to you guys, I guess, here in a second. I'm gonna try to remember which one it was on. I should have left it open, honestly. Hold on. I'll show it to you. Just so we can clear that up, because I've had a lot of people say that. And then I read the document after I'd had like all these comments about it, and I'm like, that's not what that says. Hence why there was going to be a video. Hold on. Which freaking one was it? I know it was one of the newer ones because it was a weird format. Found it. Opened right up to it. I'm so good. Okay. Okay. Let me show you guys what this is about so that we can nip this now to where y'all are understanding what it actually says. Let me fix this. I just don't understand why anybody takes him serious. You know, he's out here with this bullshit on his face with his own bushy ass eyebrows. Okay. Acting like an idiot. Like, you're just a big old clown. I don't even understand. Like, how old are you? It's got to be at least 20 years older than me. Acting like a baby. Okay. So this right here is talking about a supplemental disclosure. This is separate right here. Because see how there's bold writing. The bold writing separates the subjects. So whenever they're talking about this page 13, that's talking about cell phone usage, this is where they're discussing the 7 minutes. And again, this is a document that we will be going like over in full in its own video. Okay. This is going over the 7 minutes. All right. Bold writing, meaning now we're on another subject. Okay. This is another page being talked about when it comes to the cast report that was given over by Balance. Okay. Page 28. Page 28 shows a map that includes 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, represented by the CS icon, meaning crime scene, and a yellow circle that represents a 100-meter radius around the crime scene. Balance will explain that he conducted analysis of all the cell sites in the area that provided coverage to the crime scene and identified any cell sites that drive test data showed coverage that included this 100-meter radius around the crime scene. That included it. Not that it was only this 100 meters, but this 100 meters was included in what the cell site actually covered. Not that it was the only thing that the cell site covered. Now we have this. The state has not disclosed this analysis, meaning that whatever is being submitted on page 28, the state is not disclosing any of this stuff at all. So when it comes to this next portion, all the next portions, it's all separate. It's all completely separate. Now this says page 29 and 30 represents any time that the 8458 phone utilized a cell site identified as part of page 28. Meaning anything that would be having this 100 meters included, not only that 100 meters, because what do we know about these cell towers? They cover miles, okay? They're going to have to do a lot better than his phone touched this tower and was under this coverage area. But in reality, he can be sitting in his living room and there just be too much traffic on the towers and he doesn't even have to do anything. And his phone will jump towers without him even having to move from his living room to his kitchen. That's how that works. So this is what it says right here. Page 29 and 30 represents any time that the 8458 phone utilized a cell site identified as part of page 28 between the hours of, and this is where it gets really stupid, 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. What's the problem with that, guys? When did the crime start? After 4 o'clock in the morning? Why are they stopping them checking on the phone before the crime even starts? That's a bit odd. And it says that 23 separate instances between July 9th of 2022 and November 7th of 2022. So nothing at all from the 7th to the 14th. What about the 14th? What about the 13th? Remember, the 14th is the one that they claimed there was a ping in the area that his phone was pinging in the Moscow area where the house was. But then they said, oh, but we proved that that was basically like a false ping, that he wasn't actually in Moscow. So how many of these are really that he wasn't actually in Moscow at all, just touching the same tower? This is no different than the 12 times being talked about in the PCA. It's just a weird time frame. It stops before the crime even occurs. And again, cell towers. This is not saying that he was within a 100-meter radius of the crime scene. That's not what this is claiming whatsoever. It just says that 100-meter radius that is considered the crime scene is included in the coverage. They're going to have to actually put him there with something that can't be proven to be a false ping. They have to do better. They have to do better than that. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion. Was that the date of the pool party that he went to? I thought the pool party he went to was in August. Because I know that the pool party that he went to and the pool party that Kylie went to are not the same. I mean, not Kylie. You can tell what case I've been thinking about lately. Kaylee. Because Steve Goncalves and Brett Norton talked for a long time. And in the text messages, they're talking about the pool party. And he said that the pool party that Kaylee went to was indoors. And the one that Bryan went to, well, he didn't say anything about the one that Bryan went to. But the one that Bryan went to was outdoors. And the one that Kaylee went to, according to what her dad knew about it, was indoors. And also not on the same day. So they were two different things. That part. Boy, even sued his own damn self. Like, how much attention do you need, bro? How much attention do you need? I've been thinking about her a lot lately. I feel like something's like, I don't know why, but for like the past couple of days, like I've really, really, really been thinking a lot about Kylie. And I don't know if like something is about to happen or I don't know. Just for some reason, she's been on my mind a lot. It's like the universe is talking. Very strange. Now, remember, we got the stuff from CHP and everything was sent over to Truckee, and we're basically just waiting on Truckee to get like their report together. Like I've filed my FOIA for them. Haven't heard anything. But I try. Yeah, see? Weird, right? I wonder if something's about to go down and then like the universe is just getting our brains ready. It's crazy. Oh, okay. So like I was saying, I find it strange that they're trying to place all these purchases from Pennsylvania as like evidence against him, which again, sure, but actually prove the reason why, not just like the strange thing about the fact that he purchased it months and months ahead of time in a normalish way at a sporting place where people go and buy these. Like again, like I mentioned, and probably some of you people in here wear these masks, these crazy masks that cover your face and only your eyes, and maybe sometimes your mouth shows. Sometimes there's something that covers your mouth, but in the cold weather areas, these are so common. Like I said, some of the comments are telling me that some people have to go in and buy multiple of them a year and constantly replace them because they get holes in them real easy because they wear them all the time. So it's a very, very common thing, especially in those areas. But I find it interesting that they're trying to take purchases and schooling and all these things that he did away from Washington as part of this like case. But when it comes to his internet data, they don't want it. They don't want the internet data from his parents' house in Pennsylvania. This was the internet data. The browsing history, the devices that were ever connected, all of the internet data. This is like them going to Spectrum and getting my data, okay? They don't want it no more. They don't want it. So Bryan wasn't looking at anything the whole time he was living at his parents' house that would give them pause. There's nothing in his history, in his browsing history, that they want to add to evidence here. I find that sort of interesting. Extremely interesting. I missed things. Well, welcome, Goji13. Welcome, 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 welcome. What if Christy got it wrong and Xana was blocking the door? I mean, that's possible. That's possible. No, no. I mean, unless they switched him around. I'm thinking back to the PCA. The PCA makes it seem as if the door is open enough and the detective is walking towards the openish door and is seeing Xana like across the room against the wall on the floor. So I guess maybe no. I guess it would have had to have been Ethan. If we didn't have that little tidbit, then that could be a possibility, but we do have that portion. We have to hope that something's right, which, is really hard. 8 months. Hey there, Layla. Okay. Who's Richie and why is he lost? This just like cut it off all the way. Like it won't even let me read it. I know. Like just the fact that we are out here like wanting to know more about cases and we talk about these kinds of things to all of our open devices, okay, that literally hear and listen to everything that we talk about. Don't you think we're on some sort of watch list or something because of all the words we constantly say? I know that nobody would look at my internet browsing history, the terms that I have to use to get certain things to pop up for cases that are very commonly known, just to try to get information. Nobody would look at that and think that I was a sound-minded person. And that's pretty much like everybody here. Like the way that we have to look stuff up just to get the truth. Come on now. Okay, so they don't want his internet browsing records, which is crazy to me. They don't want them. But they do want, again, his financials from the Pennsylvania State Employee Credit Union. And again, it's not a banking advisor or someone that works with a company. It's the Fed, Michael Douglas, that's going to be coming in and talking to them about everything when it comes to Bryan's money. Now, we were wondering why all this was in here, and they took it out because it's useless. Why was there even a record about Petco and what Kaylee purchased at Petco submitted at all? Why? Why was there anything for Rite Aid submitted just for whatever was submitted to say that there's nothing there to send? There's nothing here for Bethany. That's all the information that came through. Why is Ross even on here whenever the information came out and they said it's labeled for Ross, but there's literally not a single Ross purchase on this entire list of random ass purchases that don't have any descriptions or definitions or details. There's like literally nothing when it comes to pointing at the man that they're trying to say did this. Nothing that makes any sense, nothing that you can connect. I don't know what they're going to try to prove come trial if this is literally all that they've got. I don't. Sunset Mart, we talked about this one, about the car going south on 95 at 9:12 in the morning. We did talk about this one in a video a few days ago. They're going to be using the footage from 3:28 in the morning, which is not the next morning, but the time that they're claiming that the car would have been coming towards the area of the neighborhood where King Road is. Then we have the Sunset Mart in Pullman on Bishop Boulevard. And again, this is for the morning after, where they're claiming the car did that weird not U-turn, but like horseshoe-shaped thing and went back up to Pullman. That's where they have that camera footage from. Now, the target records took them out because, again, why were they there? Why were they there? Useless. Now, this is where we get the next thing of what the actual shit's going on here. Because what was the timing that we were told this entire time for 3 freaking years now? What was the timing that we were told that Xana was on TikTok? 4:12 in the freaking morning. What is the time on here? Oh, I don't know, an hour before that. So they were using 4:12 as like a proof of timeline for Xana still being alive and able to do whatever she's doing on the TikToks. Alive. At 4:12. So what the hell is this? What is this? So at 3:16, she's apparently on TikTok. And they're submitting Ethan's DoorDash records for proof of life of Xana, basically, for her timeline, even though it's his account, doesn't have her name on it at all. Are we just going to believe a person is going to get on the stand and be like, yeah, the brunette, that's the one I gave the food to? Is that what's going to happen? Yeah. No, the DoorDash driver's initials were MM. The driver that brought the girls home is a male named Eric. Two different people. Two different people. There's not any that I saw. The Dickies coveralls. I haven't seen anything about the Dickies coveralls in this, because even the Marshall's receipts and stuff were all not being admitted. And like even the Under Armour one, I was like, okay, are they going to say that he bought some sort of special like black shirt and that's what he used to commit the crime? Well, even the Under Armour transaction is being removed. I didn't see anything about no Dickies. The only thing that we saw or even heard about when it came to Dickies is a bathroom receipt. A bathroom receipt. I guess you can call it a bathroom receipt. A receipt that was taken out of one of the cabinets in the bathroom whenever Ann Taylor and her team got there. You know, whenever all the stuff at Dawn Daniels came out. So, yeah. I don't know what he's talking about. It's not in this one. And if they do have some sort of Dickies coveralls receipt or whatever, they're not admitting it into evidence as a self-authenticating record. That is a receipt. And again, unless I missed it, but that's why we're going over the whole thing. So if he's lying, hopefully some of you guys go over there and be like, hey, you lied. There's nothing in this about a coverall. Why are you running your mouth? I mean, because that dude just runs his mouth and says all kind of crazy shit, and I just don't understand it. It's just wild to me. People with no conscience are weird. Now, the Dylan thing got taken out. It needed to, apparently. I don't know why it was there. It made everyone question a lot of things, and it was very specific. It was a 10/18 of 22 purchase made by Dylan Mortensen at TJ Maxx. And that was it. And there was no more. And it was weird. And now it's gone. The T-Mobile phone records for Kaylee and Dylan. Specifically, the state would seek to show the phone records of Kaylee and Dylan on November 13th of 22, meaning all the communication between the two of them? Or is there something else here? Because there's already a lot of questions about the real reason why Dylan wanted to get Kaylee back to the area so bad. And Kaylee's extreme hesitance to do so. And then everything that followed after the fact. So we shall see. Bank for Dylan, gone. Again, like I mentioned, the Under Armour transaction for Bryan, completely gone. The U.S. Chef Store in Clarkston surveillance footage. This is the surveillance footage that we knew about from the PCA. And this is from 2:42 to 2:44 in the afternoon whenever he's in Clarkston. Now, do you remember how we've been talking about how the defense has been leaving the organization of the files that they're getting in discovery as they're getting them from the state? They're not reorganizing them or relabeling them or any of the things. And Hippler is basically taking the state's incompetence and disorganization out on the defense. Well, the state has now pettied back because, as they say, and I had to check because, I had to check. They say here for number 49, defendant does not have a 49 listed in his response. The state is keeping the same numbers as defendant's response for consistency. So I had to go and check. You just know that I had to go and I had to check. So I'm looking. Sure enough, there's no 49. So I'm like, okay, where did they get this information from? The states that doesn't have numbers. So the state finally actually got one up on them when it comes to all this crazy stuff. Give me just a second. It doesn't? Who told you that Dylan came home at 4:16? Dylan is claiming that she came home around 1:15. She claimed to be asleep by 3:20, but she was adding a contact to her phone at 3:51 in the morning. I don't know anything about 0416. That's probably something that people are just assuming. But there's nothing about that there. It is all very wild. Okay. Ulta. Again, I was wondering, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to say that he went to Ulta and bought makeup to like cover up whatever they're trying to say is there, which we've already seen from obviously now a selfie and a hairdresser and a doctor and people in class with him, that he didn't have cuts, bruises, rednesses, lips, nothing. Verizon phone records for Ethan, Bethany, and I'm going to assume again that this is Jack Ducour, and this is for the day of November 13th of 22, which is interesting that they want Jack's records, but I guess it's because of all the back and forth phone calls. Well, I guess I really can't say back and forth, but the repetitive attempts to call Jack. Remember, there's like 10 of them between Kaylee and Maddie's phone, with the last one being on Kaylee's phone, but also around this exact same time that Maddie and Kaylee are frantically, for some reason, trying to get a hold of Jack Ducour, Maddie is also calling Bethany, which is interesting. Walmart surveillance of Bryan. Again, something that everyone who, just wants to pew this guy out of existence for no reason whatsoever at this point, they all believe that this was going to prove that he was stalking them at Walmart while they were grocery shopping or some crazy stuff. No, they don't even want to admit it anymore. They're over it. They don't care about Walmart. Washington Department of Motor Vehicle surveillance footage. Now, again, this is just him walking into the DMV. I don't feel like we're going to see anything special here, because at this point, he's already gone to the hairdresser, gotten a haircut, gone to the doctor, gone to class. People have seen him, interacted with him, all the things. There's no physical, nothing on him. So I guess this would just be for like identification purposes, because he's walking in, showing his ID, registering his vehicle. That's the only thing I really think of for why it's in there. Because then we also have the registration documents, and I'm going to show you guys all that stuff in a minute, because they have all that stuff on here. Let's see. Washington Trust Bank records and images for Bryan Kohberger. Okay, I'm going to ask a question, because I know y'all watch him. I know some of y'all still watch him. Where, in what document, did Pavarotti, or however the frick you ever say his name, tell y'all that Kohberger went to an ATM in Moscow that morning? Because I cannot find that anywhere. And I had a lot of people tell me that old Pavo is telling people that he went to the Washington Trust ATM that's off of 95 in Moscow that morning, and I can't find that anywhere. I know that they said that he went to an ATM, but they didn't say what location. Don't find out. Just leave it that way. Because I can't find it. Because I try to find, where people are claiming things, especially whenever I have people coming to me and saying that they're seeing documents being shown to them that say these things, and I've got the same document and I don't see it. Okay, but what document was it? Because I've gone through all of them and I want the truth. And I know damn well that Heather can look through all of these a hell of a lot quicker than I can, and she can't see it either. I've had like 7 different freaking people say this to me. And I need to know where it's at if it's true, because I can't see it. He has over 400 what? The same documents that we have? Okay, well, he's also wrong about the hotel, because I've got even more people coming to me and telling me that they were at a hotel that night and they weren't there during the crime and all this crazy stuff because of some document that he showed everybody. The document literally says that they were at the hotel after the fact. It's talking about how the memory can be affected after, post, meaning after the crime. After the crime. They were at a hotel after. Yeah, see, I went and looked for all the different ATMs. There's one on Bishop Boulevard, which we hear all the time in this case, and that's in Pullman. There's one in Clarkston. No, there's one in Lewiston, which is right across the way from Clarkston. And then there's one in Moscow off of 95. But it doesn't say that anywhere. It doesn't say anywhere that he was at that ATM. It doesn't say the address of the ATM. And I went through the documents that show the make and model like addresses for all the different footages and stuff like that, and it's not on there either. Like, I looked, guys. Like, I try to find the things that I'm being told that other people are talking about to like see if it's like legit and something that we need to bring attention to, and it's not there. It's not there. Well, see, he's claiming all that stuff with no proof. No, he claims they were at the hotel the night of the crime, and Eric Gower brought Dylan home at 4:16. That's his opinion. Okay, but you can't say something like 4:16 and say that that's an opinion, and they were at a hotel and that's an opinion. Like, that's like it either they were or they weren't. Yeah, it was hotel after the crime, which is still a little bit wild to me that they didn't like have the parents come and get them. Like, I know that they're adults, but to just stick them all in a hotel is wild. That's a little bit wild. Exactly. It was after. That's why I put it in the video after, not before, because so many people are like, oh, they won't know. No. I mean, like, it's fine to have opinions about things, but to give timestamps of your opinion in specific locations that you can't prove is wild. Can you see? Find it for me. You're the one of the main ones that have like said it over and over again. So if you can go back to his video and come back and give me the name of the document and the page number, I'll pull it up right now. I see you, but I didn't see what you said before. There it is. If you do the mapping, there's only certain machines he can go to do that. Don't charge him extra. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, but no one's gonna drive. No one's gonna drive to a town over to save $3 of an ATM fee. That's wild. So I don't know. I need like I need proof, because for him to sit there and say, "Oh, he went to this ATM in Moscow," no, you need to actually prove that. That's wild. That's a timestamp that would definitely matter for the time being and the accusations for that 9 to 9:30 time period. You can't just say that without knowing. Yeah, if somebody can tell me like the name of the document and the page number, I will totally pop it up on here. Like, I even went to like Control F and typed in like Washington, Trust Bank, ATM, different words that would pop up. Nothing. I just like facts. I just like the facts. Jules analysis. Ha, thank you for the 1999. I know it's been insane. I'm probably going to go live again tomorrow night too, honestly. Because there's a bunch more that we need to go fully through. Yeah, Dylan is doing some sort of like spiritual community therapy gaming thing. I don't know what the frick she's doing. Well, he wasn't really on camera footage around that area, though, open mind. See, that's the problem that I have with that timeline. That's why I did that video, because they're trying to tell me that he went from his apartment at 9 o'clock in the morning to south of 95 at the Sunset Mart or whatever the hell it's called right there. That's a 23-minute drive, and they're trying to claim that it's his car on camera at 9:12. And I just can't get with that. That doesn't sound right. Oh, I know he does. I know. Mine was 23 minutes whenever I did my video from From the apartment to the Sunset Mart was a 20 to 23 minute drive. And if you went on the highway itself, like if you went all the way down to where 8, I think it's 8 turns into 95 or turns into 95 south, it was 23 minutes. So how come in the text messages Bethany's saying come to my room down here as if she's there if she's at a hotel? That doesn't make sense. And it wasn't parents weekend there, it was parents weekend at WSU. So why were her parents there and her family there if that's the case? I don't know, this is gonna have to make some more sense a little bit. Oh, I know it can't be. Because why are they not saying that they're able to see that it's Bryan? Why are they not saying that the plate matches what he would have had on his car at the time? 9 o'clock in the morning, honey, that's bright ass daylight. You can see that damn car. Okay. So if it was Bryan's actual car, they would say it was Bryan's actual car. Well, because she was downstairs in the bottom and Dylan was on the second floor. No, yeah, no, that's what I was doing. I've done that for a little bit. I just haven't recorded it yet, but I had that, and I was like going down on Google, like you can touch them and it moves the little dot. I just don't. He just can't go around saying that he was at an ATM at a certain location and make it like a fact part of the timeline, because we need real truth facts of the timeline. And again, if there's one on Bishop Boulevard and he ended up going south that day to go down to Clarkston, then he probably would have used the one on Bishop Boulevard. Makes more sense. Yeah, they all stayed together in the hotel, which is wild. Like the people that showed up and them all stayed together. I wonder if that's where Jack went afterwards. Because like the Goncalveses try to make it seem as if he went straight to their house. No, he didn't. He went to questioning, was kept pretty much like overnight for hours and hours and hours, let out early on in the like early morning time. It was either really super, super freaking late at night or super early in the morning. I'm pretty sure that he went home and took a shower and got some sleep and all the things before he went all the way to the Goncalves' house. Well, remember, one of the neighbors came forward and they came out and said really, really early on that that door was wide open at 8:30 in the morning, which is why that time frame is so important to me. What did Lily say about a bank? What happened? Who's Lily? Oh. What was the issue about the ATM drive-through? There was a mention about the defendant's objection to state's motion. I'm on that one. No, I'm not. I'm on the states. Hold on. This is the defendant's motion for that. I don't think they're even mentioning the drive-through here. What am I looking for? I guess ATM. Okay, right here. Washington Trust Bank records. Yeah, that's all it is. There's an Excel spreadsheet of transactions and PDG documents of images of Mr. Kohberger in his car at the ATM on the morning of 11/13, but it doesn't give an address. And if you go here to the timestamps of the cameras, I'll look again, and if something pops up, I'll be really actually surprised because I looked already. ATM. No results for ATM. Bank. There's nothing for bank. There's no way there's nothing for bank. Washington pops up and works. See? There's nothing in here about the ATM either. So the only thing that it says when it comes to records at all is just that he was on camera at one of the ATMs. It doesn't say which one. It doesn't say which one. I don't know. They just said he was taking a selfie at 10:31. He was taking a selfie, and then at 12:30, he's at Costco. And also on top of that, I feel like if they really truly had him leaving his house that morning, then we wouldn't just have a 912 stamp on Highway freaking 95 South next to the house. We'd have camera footage from WSU saying at X time the car actually left, and it's caught on WSU footage in the broad ass daylight. We don't have that. We don't have that. He probably did go to church. I feel like that's what he did. See, that's the problem that I have there is that door open at 8:30 in the morning, and we know damn well they were up at 7:30 making phone calls and doing all kind of stuff. I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out because nothing here is pointing to Kohberger. Them just showing that he bought a mask in January of 2022, but not being able to prove that he even had it with him at Pullman. Because if it's one of the ones that was found whenever they went into his home at his parents' house, then that's something that he left in Pennsylvania. So it wouldn't even matter. It literally wouldn't even matter. And unless they find one that they can prove belongs to him and it has DNA from the victims on it, then what am I supposed to believe? He bought a freaking mask that is one of a million purchases every single day of that exact same mask across the world. I need more than that. I need more than that. Y'all should need more than that. I need more than that. Sorry, I need more than that. But I'm going to try to see if we can find anything else out about the ATM because I'd really like to know if it was the one on Bishop Boulevard that he would have technically passed going south to Clarkston, or if maybe for some weird reason he would have gone to one in Lewiston, which was across the way from Clarkston where he was, because there is one down there. And the only other one is in Spokane, which isn't even like an area that we need to even look at. Well, the latent print is now pretty interesting because not only is it not really pointing in the direction they're trying to claim that it was, it's more like in the middle of the threshold of Dylan's doorway. And they're claiming that it looks more like a van sole, like a van shoe print. But according to the documents that we got here recently, the person she's claiming to have seen was wearing boots. So it's not really a van shoe. Yeah, you notice that no one in the messages is talking about the dog. Oh my God, Murphy won't stop barking. Something has to be wrong. Why won't the dog stop barking? Like you'd think with him barking incessantly for at least a good 30 minutes after the car leaves the neighborhood that you would hear them having conversation about how the dog won't shut up. Something's got to be going on because Murphy won't stop barking. It's not like people can say, oh, that breed doesn't bark. Well, he's on camera barking for half an hour. So your logic is screwed up. Apparently not, which doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. They said that there was no DNA whatsoever, no blood, no nothing on the dog. I don't remember. I don't remember if anything was mentioned earlier on. I just know that here in the most recent documents, it's black shirt, black pants, black boots. No, there's no address for the ATM. Mm-mm. Maybe it'll come later, but for right now, we don't have any of that other information. None of it. Well, thank you for the $9.99, Pam. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So many questions. See, some people think that, but I don't think that because the dog was barking like outside the house and then abruptly stopped. So unless Jack came and like scooped up the dog after the fact, I don't know. That bark test is interesting because why couldn't they tell us that? All these things were literally not told to us because they didn't want the roommates to look worse than they already did. Nothing that has come out makes him look worse. It doesn't. It puts all of the like faces towards the girls. Especially knowing that you just had all this insane shit happen. You're freaking out, verbalizing to each other that you're both freaking out and scared. And you've got a dog barking his freaking head off for 30 minutes and it's outside your house. You put the dog outside. You had to have put the dog outside. And then 30 minutes later, you had to have let the dog back in. So I really don't believe the dog was just like running around all willy-nilly. The dog would have had to have been on that patio that came out from like Kaylee's room. That's the only thing that makes sense there. They do. They look shady as shit. They look shady. Even if they're not, they look shady because of their behaviors. Like how? I'm sorry. And I'm sorry. People might get pissed off at this. I don't care. The way that it sounds was as if the girls purposely called people over there so that those people could be the ones to walk in on the scene. So those people can be the ones to be traumatized, to be broken in the mind and come across something so horrific because they were too cowardly to do so. They pushed it on to their so-called friends to go through this experience because they were too cowardly to do so. Both of them collectively. You don't collectively become a piece of shit together unless you know that you were previously already a piece of shit and now you got to cover up your shitness. If that makes any sense. Yeah. And see, that's why the inside needs to like, we need clarification about what was changed. Because if the officer's body cam is doors wide open, that's not how it was. Because there's no way that those doors were wide open and that dog was just free roaming the freaking house the whole night and he didn't pick up anything. Unless they just genuinely didn't do a good look over at the dog and there was something missed. So it is just him. So he's not showing a document proving an actual time or an address for this ATM. It's all of his assumptions based on a spreadsheet that he put together. That's not court document. See, that makes more sense. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have an issue with that, but that makes more sense. If it's not a court document, it's his own stuff that he's put together. I've got that. Shit, here's mine. So yeah, no, that makes sense. That's what it is. That makes sense. That's the document I'm on right now. Kopaka. You talking about Kopacka? Brent Kopacka? Yeah, he was alive whenever all this happened. A lot of people believe that it's connected. I don't know. I've got to look into it some more. I mean, it is odd. Especially now, like, I've seen some people mention it, like the eye thing. Like the photo of Kopacka, where it's like his eye, the eyebrow, you know, and then like this thing with Dylan. It's been wild. It's been wild. Oh, well, it was a Range Rover, but I don't, as far as I can tell, she did it the way that normal people do it. I haven't seen proof otherwise of a full-on cash purchase. Down payment, credit score ran, proof of income, proof of address, you know, like that kind of thing, monthly payment. Because they did do a GoFundMe and paid it off after the fact. So I feel like she did it normally, but it was probably expensive as shit. It was probably a massive amount of a down payment. It was probably, well, you know what? I really can't say that because a lot of parents, if they have good credit and they know how to really handle things, they can put their kids on their credit cards and stuff like that and help their kids build credit before they even are of age to use it. So there's a possibility that she had really good credit and barely put anything down for that car. And then with her income, she was able to get it. It's very possible. Right? It was pretty strange. They're both like obsessed with the eyes. Well, I don't know, obsessed, but for sure, like it's very similar, very odd. Very similar, very odd. A receipt for the car. Yeah, probably like the face value or whatever the value was. It was only 16. Yeah, see, that's not much. Damn, really? My Honda was $2,000 more than that. Ah! Wild. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, let's try to get through this paper real quick. The Wells Fargo records for Maddie, no longer needed. Now, remember the Winco? Remember Winco whenever we saw that they had Winco on there for both Bryan and the girls, and we were like, oh, hold up. We finally see something that has the same name, the same location. What could it possibly be? And then we saw that it was like random financial records for Bryan, and then it turned out that there really wasn't any financial records in there for Bryan at all. I'm pretty positive. Yeah, right here. This is the one this is the response from the defense about what this Winco information actually was. It says this is the same single page document referenced in numbers 39 for Ross and Target. And remember, Ross was this single sheet that didn't even have a single purchase from Ross on it. It was a bunch of random purchases with no specifics, no details, no information, just random list of purchases submitted for Ross. Nothing for Ross was on it. Same situation when it comes to Winco. They put Winco together on their document whenever the state dropped the information and made everyone be like, oh, maybe so. Maybe we finally have something. No. They took it out because there was nothing there when it comes to Bryan whatsoever. And in the same fashion, they got rid of the records that they were trying to submit when it comes to the girls. Because what was it? Like their grocery receipts? This disclosure contains transactions for those listed above. The purported certification reads Winco food receipts only. Surveillance videos of them buying groceries that had nothing to do with the suspect. Wasted time. Wasted terabytes, wasted storage, too much. Now we have the WSU video surveillance. This again is for the 5:28 to 5:30 in the morning time showing the vehicle. Then we have the parking records, which I don't know why we need this. We know that Bryan Kohberger was a TA. We know that he had assigned parking at his apartment complex or had some sort of parking because he was active at WSU. So why we need the fact that his Elantra was registered in the WSU system and that he had an active permit, I don't really quite understand because like duh. But But that's also really like kind of one of the things I've mentioned from the very freaking beginning. Don't you normally have to have that as like a sticker on your car? Like, isn't it normally on like the back window or something like that? So shouldn't there be some footage of this car somewhere that they're claiming is Bryan's that has like the WSU parking permit sticker on it somewhere? I feel like it should. That would be like, an identification mark. I guess I need to go back and look at the footage from the pullovers and see if there's a sticker. I need to go back and look. Okay. We're going to get into the records now. Now, a lot of this is just nothing important. This is just Shane Cox. I am an employee of Amazon. All the documents produced by Amazon or our normal business procedure and practice. That's what these like certification of authenticity records are, just to prove that it wasn't something that was done, I guess, in like any sort of like extra steps or out of the ordinary, that keeping these receipts being created, surveillance camera footage being stored, all these things is a normal practice, which in this day and age, why wouldn't it be? I don't know why he's on here twice, but this is the same exact thing for Shane Cox, employee of Amazon. All the documents produced by Amazon are business records that they keep, and it's very ordinary business practice. Now we have the one for AT&T. This is the GLDC when it comes to the AT&T, what do they call it? Test drive? Driving records, however they do it, the AT&T records to prove his driving situation and his location. This is one that they came out and tried to say, it honestly didn't make any sense because the state was claiming that they got the records from them in December of 2022, but that the report for the drive test didn't actually get created until like May of 23. And I'm like, okay, well, what records did you get then? If they didn't start doing anything until 5 months later, what records did you get that you are now submitting or trying to use? Because that sounds a bit backwards in my opinion, but who knows? Anyway, this is Mike Figueroa, whatever, from AT&T. Then we have Stephen Gordon from the exact same GLDC that works on the test drive information through AT&T. And notice the dates. They just signed this crap 3 days ago. So this case is almost 3 years old. And they're having these people just now sign paperwork. That's wild. Then we have the warrant that was attached for the AT&T search warrant. Most of this stuff we've seen. Oh, they literally took out his email. Like, it's hard to figure out. It's a freaking Moscow Police Department email. Now we have the same thing from the GLDC department from a guy named Gary Cohen. And see, this one's dated 12/23 of 22. That makes more sense, but I'm still like really weary about that because of how late the rest of these are signed. Because this is another one from Stephen Gordon, GLDC still, and it's signed on the 24th, 3 days ago. Okay. And here it is, the pin trap and trace device. Now, I think this is the one I was looking at and I was like, that's weird. It is. Like, I don't know why they have the address for his parents' house redacted here because it's like not secret. Like, the address is everywhere on public record and titles of records, all kinds of things. His phone number is on full blast. His first and last name is on full blast. So I don't know if this is like, is this a different address than his parents' house? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. I don't know why else it would be redacted like that because it's been out there forever now. I don't know. And these are new redactions. You know what I mean? So I don't know. This is just the same crap. Same crap. Megan Marshall. Okay. Now here we got to the Corner Club receipt, which again, if you guys missed it, shows Kaylee actually clocked her tab out, paid her tab at 12:22 in the morning, which is over an hour before her and Maddie would end up leaving to walk to the grub truck. And as you can see, there's like 2 other squares right here, which would leave one with the brain to think that there's 2 other receipts here that for some reason are redacted. I guess we'll find out come trial who they belong to. Oh, went the wrong way. Oh. Okay. And then we have, this one is from Costco. So this is just them authenticating that the video surveillance that they handed over is a regular business practice. Now, this is that thing. It should still have it. The pinned comment on the chat thread should still show at the top. The link for this, again, I'm going to put the one that I have all the highlights in the Google Share Drive for the members only. And then the one that's blank like this, it's in that link. If you go to the top of the chat, it's pinned so that you guys can go through and read this whole thing if you want to. But again, this is not Bryan Kohberger writing about how to be the perfect villain and go through a crime scene that you've created yourself in a way to not get caught. This is proper etiquette for handling a crime scene that you're working as the good guy. This is how to keep it from being contaminated, keeping unauthorized people away, putting on your booties, taking pictures, bringing the right equipment with you, making sure that you're doing all the right testing to make sure that you're not leaving any evidence behind. This is not a book on how to be a bad guy, unlike Intoxicated Turkey and his bullshit that he's trying to spew out there. This is how to properly be an investigator, how to do it right, how to not make any mistakes. That's what this is. Something that Moscow could probably learn from. They'd be really dumb, honestly, with as detailed as this damn thing is. They would be really dumb not to take this and heed what it says. Like, they probably really should. Look how long this damn thing is. Look how many pages that thing is. Isn't that wild? All the way to admitting the information to the FBI's National Incident-Based Report System. From arriving to crime scene to finishing the investigation and thoroughly turning in your reports. How is this saying that he's a good villain? I don't understand that. Now, this is another thing that bothers me about this Dickies transaction. I don't know why they can't just show it to us. You're showing us the Corner Club. You're showing us all these other things. You're not showing us this Amazon purchase that you're claiming that he bought. You're not telling us that it has the USMC stamp on the sheath. You're being extremely vague. You're not giving us any details. You're not saying it's the one that's been described this entire time. Why? Why aren't they claiming in the document where they've given us all this information that it was a USMC knife? You'd think that they would just want to alleviate all the crap now. But no, instead they want to make it dumber. Dumber, that's not even, well, you know what? Dumb and Dumber made it a word. Dumber. I'm going to just use that one. This is all the transactions that were requested for, and there's nothing attached. It's blank, which they could have used this blank page to show us the frickin' Dickies mask that they're claiming matches the description. But they can't. They can't, which is wild to me. Now, this is the DoorDash information. Oh, wait, was this supposed to not be blank? Am I tripping? Is for some reason the DoorDash information just not loading for me on this page? Because it should totally be right here. Watch, I bet you I reload the page, brand new, and it shows it to me. Again, something's going on with this thing. Yep, look at that. Of course, it's page 921 that's screwing up. Numbers everywhere. Okay. So again, this is the DoorDash information, and it came from Ethan's account, not Xana's. It was delivered at $3.59. It cost $22.35. And ironically, it was freaking Jack in the Crack, which I, again, am not understanding. I am not understanding, because that Jack in the Box bag would not have had Xana's name on it with it being paid for and ordered from Ethan's account. On top of that, the bag looked old as hell. It looked old and crusty and torn apart. And given the time frame of $3.59, and then they're claiming that the car showed up at 4:04, like, there's just no way the bag looked like that in just a few minutes. Like, the bag would have still been with Xana and Ethan in the bedroom, barely open, food still freaking hot at that point, because there's just no way with the amount of time that went by that that's the one in the kitchen. They probably just had Jack in the Box a lot. Like if my son could have Jack in the Box tacos for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he probably honestly would, but he can't. So it really wouldn't surprise me if it was just something that they constantly ordered. Okay, so this is, what is this? Okay, so this is E&S. This is one of the businesses in Pullman that they got security footage from. This is a person named Shannon Galinsky, and they are just stating that, yeah, the security footage is normal and that the 5:25 a.m. time is accurate. This is from the weather people doing their certification of authenticity, whatever the frick. And then, who is this? Okay, this one is for the PNC Bank, signed by somebody named Melissa LaForce. Again, there's like not really going to be anything at all in here. Now Gary Anderson, the manager at the Sunset Mart in Bishop Boulevard in Pullman. The T-Mobile records, a guy named Roger Santos delivered these over. And there's multiple numbers because I believe this is the one that had like Jax. Was this Jax? Let's see. Who was T-Mobile? Ooh, is it a space? Ew, is it a space? Oh my God. It's not going to show it to me. Let's go back up here and look. What page is this? 56. Ooh, it is. I'm having loading issues, I guess, is the problem. Okay. Okay, so T-Mobile is for Kaylee and Dylan. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, and it is just two numbers. The 4782 number and the 4818 number. So just the two. Then we have Verizon being signed by Ryan Flatley. And I guess this is part of that record. 3 different devices. Looks like 3 Apple products, 3 iPhones. We gotta go back. Okay, now this is the title work from his car. And you're going to see that most of this is like Pennsylvania stuff. They have his registration from Pullman and the information from Washington in here. See, this is the Washington one. See, this is his signature. See, this just looks like he really has to like kind of slow down and take his time. Like you honestly really can't even tell that this first word is Bryan. Honestly. But he looks like he has to like he takes it slow. Mine is like insane looking, honestly. I signed like my father. See, this is from Pennsylvania. This is his title. The back of the title. Odometer reader for Washington. His signature and his written like regular print doesn't look honestly too different. He has like a shaky hand. He has a shaky hand. Department of Licensing. See, this is his license that he got before he moved. This is July 1st. No, it's not. This is Washington. So yeah, July 1st of 22. Why the frick did that document say that he moved in August? See, I need the date. I need the date that he moved, because I know that they said that his dad came with him and he was like talking to people about being friends with Bryan. So he would have had to have been here before July 1st in order for him to have been able to just like walked in there on July 1st, maybe. Yeah, I need to get the date. I don't know why they would close the address off. We know it's supposed to be the Steptoe Apartments. And just like this is supposed to be the Steptoe Apartments. So I thought they said that I need to go back and look at his Pennsylvania license thing that we saw before, because I could have sworn it was the same photo. But this would have been the one that he would have just taken in July. Yeah. And then his Washington driving record, no restrictions, no requirements, no fees. Washington State Bank Trust, copies of bank filing system. It doesn't say anything here about ATM footage or anything like that. But that's from an assistant VP and assistant general counsel in Spokane. And see, this one is signed by a guy in Spokane too, and it's talking about ATM transaction images. So maybe it's just like the main headquarters office is in Spokane. I mean, there's no way they're going to try to say that he went to a freaking ATM in Spokane. Oh, I don't know. Interesting. Net teller audit trail report. Is that what that says? Net teller. And that's the last one. That's the last one. So yeah, there's a lot of information in here that they came out and sort of like really sort of freaked us out with, because we didn't know what the frick they were doing, why they were admitting certain things. It wasn't making sense for certain things to be admitted. They literally were giving no explanation for any of it, just throwing it in there, making everything seem like it was important. And as you'll see, all of the red are things that are now being excluded. And for some reason, they think that just because he technically has the exact same educational background that they have, meaning the prosecutor, the court, the judge, all the people, because he has the same type of knowledge that they would have obtained in their education, that means that he's got to be the guy. No, they're going to have to do more than that. I need them to give me footage actually had him in the car. Like, you see his freaking face in the vehicle that's in the area. I need something else. Like, they're not providing what they need to provide in order for this case to work. There's just no way. There's just nothing here, in my opinion. And I know that the DNA is not nothing to a lot of people, but to me it is, because of what we've been told about it and all the other unknown DNAs and all the actual blood unknown DNAs that were found at the scene. Like, you can't just pretend like there's not higher tiered things here that really should have been paid a lot more attention to, because they literally got this information about Kohberger and then forgot about the rest of it, forgot about the main suspect they had before that, forgot about all the unknown DNA on the first report from the glove and the handrail, and, never mind the unknown blood DNA on the knife sheath itself that my friend reminded me about earlier today that I completely forgot about for some reason. Never mind the unknown DNA in Maddie's fingernail clippings, and that includes a dude that we've never heard of before. Never mind all those things. We got to forget that all those things exist in this case, because trust me, bro. Like, I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen, especially whenever they're lying to us about shit like this. Why? Why can't we not know the real time that Xana was on TikTok? Why? Is it because they truly don't know either? Is it because maybe somebody played a game and the state lost because they're stupid? Is that what happened? I don't know. I just don't understand why things that are supposed to be so concrete, like the last time that Xana was on TikTok, and whenever certain things happened, are not being kept the same. I don't understand why it's not just being kept the same. Why has it got to be all over the place? I don't understand that. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. But that's it for that one. There's so many documents. There's so many documents. And I really am going to start trying to do as much as I possibly can, separating them out so that they don't get misconstrued. They don't get confused. We don't get things mixed in and mixed up when it comes to factual, actual evidence and speculation and theory and possibilities. But that's also really hard to do, considering that some of the information that they're giving us that's supposed to be so concrete, like, for example, Costco. Why is there a 30-minute difference in the time frame they're giving us in the make and model information and the time that they're telling us that they're going to actually use footage-wise when it comes to trial? Why is it 30-minute different? See what I mean? Stupid. Stupid. Very circumstantial. Yeah, I want to know who he is. Who's that dude? Because that's not Maddie's boyfriend's name. So why is his DNA underneath? I'm not going to say underneath her fingernails. Why is her DNA mixed into her fingernail clippings that were from her left hand? I would love to know. This Kohberger, is that his name? I'll pull up the document. I'll do it. Pretty sure his name is Behringer. The clippings that were taken of Maddie's left hand had several different DNAs underneath them. I'm pretty positive that Jack Ducour's initials are on that damn paper. Damn it, now I'm going to have to freaking bring the damn document up. It's the paper where we read about this in the first place, where we were told that at first the lab said that Bryan Kohberger was an inconclusive match to the fingernail clippings, but then they went and did independent testing and were able to prove that he's actually very much excluded from being a part of this DNA sample. And I'm going to go pull up the damn thing right now so I can make sure that I got JD right. It was. And see, people had said before, and I don't remember where Steve said this, but I'm not going to act like he didn't say it because there'd be no reason for him not to say it because it makes sense to me. Steve Goncalves apparently said at some point that Jack's DNA was at the scene. And to me, that makes sense. Not only does it make sense because they weren't together, but they were still communicating, but it also makes sense because they were at the corner club together right before this happened. So even if there was no hanky-panky or nothing going on between them physically to where that would make sense even more, they were together that night, at least at the corner club, hanging out, talking. At the very least, drunk girls like to touch on people. Oh, you're so funny. All those things. So she probably touched him a lot. He probably touched her a lot. Normal hanging out situation. It'd be kind of odd to me if his DNA wasn't anywhere. I think that'd be a bigger red flag to me if his DNA just wasn't anywhere at all in that house. Let's be so for real. Where was it? Inconclusive data. Was it this one that we got the name, though? I don't remember if it was this one where we got the name, Cole. Oh, it is. Found it. Right here. So, yeah. Ms. Miller concluded that it is inconclusive whether the following persons are potential contributors: Jack Ducour, Cole Behringer, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, and Bethany Funk. She also determined it is inconclusive whether Bryan Kohberger is a potential contributor. Again, that was Miller. But then we found out that he actually took it to an independent lab and was able to prove that he was excluded. And then whenever they tried to fight the state for the grand jury conviction, the state then came out and said, But we did you a favor. We literally inputted into the grand jury's information exculpatory evidence for your client because he was excluded from being a part of that mixture. We did you a favor. Why are you mad about it? Why are you trying to overturn something that we did for you? That's literally what went down with that. That's literally what went down. And that's a good question. I wish we knew. They're not saying anything. And I don't know if they can tell that this way. And I say that because I feel like whenever they're doing clippings, they're having to put those clippings. I'm telling you right now, a lot of people don't believe this, but there's a lot of liquid. There's a lot of liquids when it comes to testing DNA, separating mixtures, doing different things. The way that my brain is telling me this would happen is that those fingernail clippings would have been put into a mixture with certain solutions that could separate certain things. And that's why they were able to get the actual like independent likelihood ratios, because they were able to actually separate the DNA strands and test them separately. That's how my brain tells me. So I don't know if they can tell that. Unless they do, well, you would assume. But there could also be sweat, man stuff. I mean, we just don't really know. Any sort of fluid. There's no telling. It could be skin. Skin is the most common one. Definitely the most common one. But you really just don't know. We just don't know. And I wish that they would have made, I mean, unless they tested for that somehow, like after the fact, maybe microscopically, and compared the cells they were seeing to different types of human things to be able to tell, maybe. I don't know. It's very possible. But I would love to know. Because who the frick is Cole? This is not Maddie's boyfriend. I've never heard that name before. I've seen like maybe 2 people mention him in passing in comments and having like a little bit of information, but I don't know who the frickin' this dude was. Sounds like sorcery. It is sort of like alchemy, honestly. But I don't know. I don't know who this Cole guy is. And I don't want to like go digging into the wrong guy. That's why I'm really like trying to stay out of that stuff. Like I know some channels don't have an issue going in and digging into people's information and doing like all of that stuff. But I can't. If I don't feel like they actually got anything to do with anything or I can't prove anything, I'm not trying to do all that crazy stuff. I'm just not trying to do all that crazy stuff. So I don't know. Oh, thank you for the $10. Happy birthday for your... Oh, it was my Don. It was my son's. My little 7-year-old. But thank you very much. I would tell him. Big 07. He had a lot of fun. So everything's pizza. So, we had pizza twice. Different places. Different old experience that he loved and then a new experience that he wanted to try. So it worked out pretty well. So I don't know. I don't know his name. I remember that he said that the house, like you could hear everything. Like it was thin. You could hear steps. You could hear everything. It was really crappily put together because of the way that the extension, not extension, but the addition was built on. It was crap. It was cramp. Oh no, you're good. Pizza at both places. Yeah. Oh, we don't do full-on parties. It's just us here. We don't have like family or anybody around, so I just make sure that they have the most fun that they have and they get everything that they ask for. And he got to stay up until forever and eat a bunch of junk and play Minecraft. So he had the best time of his life and got lots of Minecraft stuff. So he was good to go. Cole lived on Louder. That's right there, isn't it? Hi there, Broken. Huh. Yeah, I'd like to get more information about why the frick his DNA is underneath her hand there. And I'd like to know whose blood is inconclusive on the knife sheath. Like my friend literally had to remind me of that. And this is like the second time he's said it. And I didn't say anything the first time because we were like so deep into the conversation about the DNA anyway. So it just kind of like, we just went past it. But he said it again today. And I was like, what you talking about, Willis? Repeat that again? Because you said that before. And I don't know what you're talking about. Somehow I missed it. But he was right. I found the document and it's closed now. I have to go back in and find it again. But I'd found the document and it does say that the there were spots on the knife sheath that were tested for blood, and they came out positive for blood, but that Kohberger was inconclusive. Not inconclusive, but he was excluded from the blood on the knife sheath. So we've got handrail blood. We've got blood inside of a glove that was found at the crime scene. We have, hold on, I'm trying to fix this. We have handrail blood, male. We have blood in a glove, male. Then we have knife sheath blood, not the suspects. Then we have this Cole guy underneath or in the mixture for Maddie's fingernails. Like, I just don't get it. I really just don't understand how we have like so many unknown male freaking biologicals that, you know, from the inside of the body, meaning somebody was injured and cut open in order for it to get where it is. Yeah, it's like 7 or 8. Well, see, I thought that too, because I said that on the phone earlier. I was like, that's like number 8. But now, if we go back in and think about the document that we just went over, how it has Bethany and Xana and Jack and that Cole guy, I think that those are the same names that are in the redacted portions for the likelihood ratios. So now that we have those names, I guess we really don't have 7 or 8. We can lower that back down, which is great. We needed to do that because that's wild. But we still have an unknown blood on the sheath. The sheath that they're trying to claim belongs to the guy in jail right now. But they've yet to come out and validate that it's the weapon that actually caused the wounds, the massive differences in the wounds. None of it makes sense. They need to do better. Well, they were part of it. So you think that that Cole guy was like the main suspect? You think it was him? Possible. Which is wild. Like, who in their right mind takes touch DNA and puts it at the forefront of actual blood evidence? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Good question. Well, apparently the only reason why her name isn't being mentioned in that is because there was nothing of hers in the clippings. So Dylan's DNA was nowhere in the clippings for Maddie. Nowhere. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Keep forgetting to change that, guys. Oh, there's a join button somewhere. I'm really bad at that. I don't really know where it's at, honestly. I think it's like on the channel page, or I don't know how to do that. I'm not good at this stuff. I don't like telling y'all how to like spend money and do things, so I honestly don't know. I know there's like a buttons or something at the bottom of the chat thing. I'm not good at this explanation. Let me see if I can just like show you. Very freaking bonkers. Very. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm gonna show, but I'll show y'all the document here in just a second too. What did I get on here to do? Okay, yeah. So hold on, I want this to be muted for myself. Okay, I don't know how to do this. Let's see. Okay, so if you pause. So down here on the chat, there's this little money thingy, and it's like the membership things are the very 2 bottom ones. That's the only way that I know about the memberships. That's the only part I know about the memberships. That's how like I've done it. Why is this doubled? Okay, there it goes. Oh yeah, let me show you. I'll show y'all. Which one was it? I know that it was still about inconclusive data. It might have been this exact same one. No, hold on. Yeah, look, he said it like twice, and I was like, what you talking about? Like, you've said that a bunch, broski. You want to repeat that? Because I need to know where that's at. And he was right. It sure to hell says it. Let's see. I don't think it's... This is the one I just opened, I think. Yeah. Okay, hold on, guys. Maybe it's this one. No, I'm going to look for it. I'm going to show it to you guys before I get off of here. Because it looks like a few of you weren't sure of it. I probably should have kept the page open. Is it this one? Oh my god. Not that one either. I literally saw it. And now this is going to drive me insane. I know it's not one of these newer ones. Inflammatory, maybe? Nope. Is this it? Oh my gosh! I can't find it. And I know that I looked at it because I took... I can't find it. Which is going to drive me crazy because I'll probably end up being like up all night looking for it now. And then y'all get just like a community post later. And I'll be like, oh, look, I found it. I know that it's on here. Is it under the touch? Y'all can probably hear my son. He's being loud. Now there was one, it's on one of the documents that actually talks about the strap being swabbed instead of like the inside of the button. I should have kept this damn document open. OMF and Jeebus. I know that it's here. I'm not imagining shit. Is that the one I just opened? I've got so many pages open. Damn! I'm going to have to go in here and find it later. I can't find it. I looked at it this morning. This is going to drive me insane. I don't think I sent a picture on my phone either. I feel like it has to be in the statistical stuff because it was a paper about the grand jury information. Mm-hmm. This is going to really bother me until I find it. This might be it right here. That's not it. It's not that one. I'm going to have to go in and like cut out all this silence once this loads through. I can't find this. This is driving me insane. I read this damn document earlier today. Is it this one? I'm going to look at all of these guys. I'm not even kidding. I'm not going to be able to go to bed until I find this damn document. Nope. The Frank stock. I'm looking now. Where? I need like a button. That'd be really cool if there was like a thing that y'all can press and it's like that ring bell for service. It gets my attention. Is it the affidavit of Ryland Nolan? The Frank's IGG. The transcript. I don't think it was the transcript. I was. Five, 6, and 14. Is that where it mentions the strap thing? Is that really it? Really? I don't feel like that's the one I opened earlier. That's wild if it's in there because I did not open that one earlier. Let's see. I'm just going to open this so y'all can just help me look because obviously I'm blind. And I'm going to find this damn document. Okay. Look, you right there. You. Which freaking document was it? Which one was it? You going to pay to laugh at me? That's some bullshit, bro. Which one was it? We talked about this earlier. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's see. I typed in sheath on the trail. Oh, there's freaking 31 of them. I'm going to type in blood. Okay, so it talks about blood on some gloves, and then okay, hold on. Okay, so it does. This isn't the document that I was talking about, but this does talk about it. You're saying, okay, I'll look at that one here in just a second. Okay. This one does talk about how, so Anne says, and I know you don't recall exactly where the knife sheath was swabbed, but we've been talking about policies. Do your policies or best practices suggest where a knife sheath or an item like it should be swabbed for DNA? The answer was no. It would be impossible for our analytical methods to cover how to swab or where to swab every single item of evidence. We receive quite a wide variety of items into the laboratory, so it's the analyst's job as a scientist, as a practitioner in forensic biology screening and DNA analysis to know what they're targeting. So on this item, I believe there was also blood. So this would have been the first time I think that we actually did hear that there was for real blood on the knife sheath, which for there not to have been would have been even sketchier considering the scene. But this is where they just started talking about how they technically couldn't really swab the top of the snap because it would have messed with fingerprinting. That part. That part right there. Yeah, this is Rylene. That's whose answer I'm pretty positive I just read. See, I just opened that one too. Guys, look, I'm telling y'all. Okay, maybe it's this one then. Oh, Heather for the freaking win, bro. She gave me the exact Heather for the freaking win, bro. Okay, look. Okay. In this case, we're right here. And I'll put the link. Hopefully it lets me do this. There's a link. Okay. In this case, the only DNA evidence that implicates Mr. Kohberger is the DNA found on the sheath found in the residence. From the lab reports and notes, as well as recent testimony by Rylene Nowlin, it appears that the sample Q1.1 was a swabbing of the leather strap, not the button, but the leather strap on the sheath, as well as the interior of the snap, which we did know about, not the outer snap surface, which apparently was not sampled in order to preserve the surface for fingerprinting, which is what we just talked about. No serological testing was done on the area swabbed for Q1.1 to identify any biological material. An area identified as Q1.4, swabs of stains on back of the sheath, tested presumptively positive for blood and was DNA tested. Mr. Kohberger was excluded from this particular sample, which was identified as a mixture. So the blood on the knife sheath is a mixture of blood. It doesn't say if it's 2 or if it's more than 2, just that it's a mixture, and it's not Bryan's. Not Bryan's. Was that his? Probably his. Well, what I want to do is go through all of the DNA information, because we went from being told that there was nothing at all from Othram to, oh, they actually did a bunch of crap. Othram actually kind of like got to the real answer, and then was told to stop everything and hand it over to the feds. And the feds basically took Othram's work and went ham on it. And then on top of that, ISP was also doing their own ancestry tree. And then because this is a DP case, there's also a mitigation genealogy person doing their own for the 3 generations back. They have to go back for the suspect. So there's a lot. There's a whole lot when it comes to that information. Thank you so much for the $9.99, Pam. When people checked on Xana, why didn't they see blood? They thought she drank so much she had been stubbed. Yeah, I don't know. That's the biggest issue I have with the 911 call, is that there's no mention of what we know really happened. It's really like they didn't actually have eyes on them whatsoever. Because I mentioned this a lot, and we've talked about this, I don't even know how long now, because the Goncalveses came out mentioning this for a long time, about how they were told by Hunter Johnson that he was called over to get the door open. When the door got open, he saw what was going on inside, yelled for the girls to get out and call the cops, and him opening the door and discovering Xana and Ethan is the reason for the 911 call. Just to then later find out that that's not accurate whatsoever, because you hear that happening on the call. So if it's happening on the call, it's not the reason why the call was made. So yeah, they're guessing out their asses is the most innocent way to put it. If people want to pretend like they didn't really know anything about what was going on, they can blame it on ignorance. But I'm not going to be one of those that babies that situation. I'm really just not. Maybe if it was just one person and they were just legitimately freaking out, didn't have anybody else with them, and just like curled up in a ball, didn't know what to do. And it wasn't until hours and hours later where they sort of came out of it and were still a little bit like too scared to figure out what was going on. Maybe. But whenever you've got two people collectively making the exact same decision, both admitting to each other that there's a fear in the air, that there's tension, that there's something going on that's freaking them both out. And instead of running out of the house, running to safety, getting help, let's just go to the basement and lock ourselves in a corner. Because nothing that's happening to the other four people here is going to happen to us. We don't have anything to worry about. The whole thing makes no sense. No sense. Coded. Coded is definitely the word for it. I mean, literally, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Both are. I mean, they should be. The jury deserves to hear the bullshit. Because there's no way that a jury sits here, hears the conversations that they're having with each other, sees everything that we've seen, and just collectively all together decides that there's nothing to be suspicious of here. Like, I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I don't know. There's just too much. It's like they had knowledge of the situation enough to know to stay out of it, but that they were also safe because nothing was going to happen to them. So they were good to just stay in the house. It's very strange. Very strange. That's gross, bro. Gross. I think they possibly can, because according to the documents, she misplaced a bunch of information about the 3 positive blood samples or whatever from Bryan Kohberger's apartment. Now they all ended up being nothing. Probably his DNA. A lot of people believe that he has nosebleeds, or maybe would cut himself shaving, because most of it was on sheets, pillowcases, stuff like that. There's no connection. There was nothing about the victims found in his apartment, his car, his office, anything like that. So whatever the blood was, it wasn't the victim's blood. It was no connection whatsoever. People really do think it's just weather change. His nose, probably. It's a lot of information. It's just so much. Dylan's not 25. There ain't no way. She's not 25. Did she? I don't know. I'll have to go back in and check. Did Riley say the lab misplaced the lab report? I don't know. No idea. I almost got shot on a public bus. I was getting out of middle school and the bang got stuck in his bag. I ran to the bus driver, told him, he let us off the bus, shut the doors. Wow. That's scary. And you were in freaking middle school. Oh my God. Mm-mm. That's the universe right there. The bag, it got stuck. Damn. That's so scary. Yeah, I figured she was 21. A lot of people think they're involved. I just know they're lying about something. They're lying about something. I knew what it was. Weird. I mean, honestly, the only reason why the name of that thing stuck into my mind is because I used to watch Star Trek Voyager a lot. And so the Borg were just a thing that I knew from a child. And so whenever I saw that a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, that's going to stick. It's crazy. I want to know what Dylan apparently knows that's exculpatory. Yeah, she'd be 23 now, I'm pretty sure. I don't know when their birthdays are. Well, that's the thing. We're going to go over a document that came out Kevin said touch DNA is destroyed the first time tested because it's so small. The first lab was inconclusive, so they sent it to other labs. Nothing to send. They're lying. That's what we all thought. That's what we all thought. And until they show me the actual measurements, then that's pretty much what I'm going to continue to think, even though I still have questions. I kind of feel like they were lying about that portion of it, honestly, because we've seen them physically give a sample to Othram and then turn around and do testing. Or actually the testing with Idaho was first. Then they turned around and gave it to Othram, and then they turned around and they said they sent a sample to the feds. So now Rylene Nowlin, I always want to say her name like backwards from the way that it sounds. Anyway, Riley Nowlin is now coming out and claiming that she doesn't want to basically use the verbiage of transfer DNA because she, in her opinion, feels as if it's direct contact, that it's not something that can be considered transfer. She's going to have to come out and explain that. She's going to have to give quantity. She's going to have to come out and give measurements for exactly how much of the sample there was, because that's been the thing from the beginning. They literally said there was nothing there for the defense to use in order to run testing to make sure that they get the exact same results from the sheath DNA, the actual sheath DNA. And if they were able to do all this other stuff, and now this chick's coming out and being like, oh, well, actually there is more than that. Well, then why hasn't the defense been able to do anything? Why hasn't the defense been able to do anything with it? I just don't understand that. Like, which way is it? Which way is it? Was there not enough that you can't let the defense do their own testing to prove that you have the right information and that y'all didn't lie about stuff? Like, there's not enough, it's impossible, or there is enough and you've been lying this entire time, and now all of a sudden the defense is going to be like bombarded with all this information and all this new stuff they have to do. Because all this stuff that they're getting, they're just now getting it over the past, like, since January. They're getting all kinds of brand new discovery since January. Past the deadline. And if this was the defense doing this, Hitler would be putting his foot down. He'd be throwing a holy cow fit because stuff was being done past deadline. But because it's the state, it's fine. I don't understand that. The catch-22 is such bullshit. I remember that. Like, I remember the first thing that came out about Dylan's dude was he was like, well, I've never been there to see her. And I'm like, excuse me, there's photos of y'all together, of you going to see her? Like, we know for a fact you've gone to Moscow to see her. Why are you lying? Why are you lying? Why are you lying? Well, tell her happy birthday. Bam, bam, whap, whap, whap. Paperwork back to back. Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. It's a lot. It's really like a lot. And there's so much. Like, I was skimming through it today to try to get caught up on at least something. Because we're all the way back. We're all the way to the point to where now they have information being submitted for the grand jury instructions. Like, they have the questionnaires out, basically. We're at that point. And I don't know if they're going to end up dropping a bunch more stuff before the 9th of April or not. I don't think so. Because a lot of the states and the defense's responses now that we're coming to like the fourth, I guess, injection of documents, they're getting down to be like 2 or 3 pages. And at the ending, it's just like, it's for a jury to decide. It's for the court to decide. It's da-da-da. So it's not like they're really got too much more to argue. Like, at this point, they're just repeating themselves. And it's not doing any good to anything, literally at all. So we'll see. But we have until April 9th to get caught up on everything. And they've even made mention about the 10th too. So I don't know. I guess it just depends on if... What day is that? April 9th is a Wednesday. Right? Yeah. April 9th is a Wednesday. Thursday is the 10th. We normally have court on Thursdays, but this time it's going to be on a Wednesday. JR is stupid. He's only saying that because of the time frame. But that's not ever said. No, it's not the trial. It's motion hearing on all this stuff. All this stuff. So I don't know. There's just a lot going on. So we'll see. But I want to go through all the timeline information, all of the little timestamps, and try to at least get a picture about what they're trying to tell us, because if we can at least take everything that they're going to be attempting to present and try to look at it the way that it's supposed to be looked at chronologically, like I honestly just don't know how the frick they have a story to even follow with as disorganized as all their things are. Like the defense again is like submitting things in the way that they're getting them from the state, and it's a mess. So how does the state even know like what they're looking at? Like it's hard to even like pay attention to any of that stuff. Oh, I missed this, Tara. Well, see, I thought I did. Thank you for gifting them. Oh, thank you for being a member for 5 months. I know that y'all told me this before about there being like free memberships to give away, but I don't have that. I am something from like before 2014 called like a brand account, which makes no sense because I was doing like notary and couponing videos like in sprinkles for maybe like 3 or 4 months before I started doing true crime. But my YouTube account was created a long time ago because I've been watching YouTube for freaking forever. But for some reason, I'm like locked into this weird thing that because it was created prior to 2014 or prior to a certain date in 2014, like I don't have the option to give that on my channel, and I also can't like turn on gifting in order for me to get a gifted membership. Like if I'm on another channel in the chat and somebody drops gifts, it passes right over my name and goes on to the next person because for some reason those accounts don't have that ability. I don't know why. Because I looked into that whole like free membership thing because I was like, hell yeah, that's freaking cool, but I don't have that option. I probably need to go back through my emails and see if I can find the email while I was emailing back and forth with an IT person with YouTube like directly and see if I can get them to give me an answer about that. I actually should write that on a Post-it. I should write that on a Post-it because that was annoying. Thank you for becoming a member. I'm Merriman 10. Thank you very much for joining. But I'm going to jump off. Yeah, he shouldn't decide on anything until after that. Knowing him, he probably isn't going to decide until afterwards, and then we're going to get this long no. It's probably what's going to happen. Hit your logo. There is an option to become a member. It has nothing to do with the document. What? I don't know what you mean, Pam. My logo on what? On the YouTubes? It's like I tried to pull this up before, and it doesn't have an option for me. Like there's even like another setting I was told to go into to see if I could get like a gifted one given to me from like another channel, and it just doesn't work. Right here, maybe? No. I got to get a hold of them and find out what's going on with it because that's all that I could figure out. Like somebody mentioned it a couple of lives ago whenever we were talking about it, and they were like, oh, you're from before 2014. Your brand account, it doesn't allow it. And I was like, well, that's dumb. You'd think that if you were considered like a brand account, you would have more availability to do stuff like that. Doesn't even give you the option. See, I don't know. I'm going to try to figure it out, though, because I'd like to be able to gift them. I think that's cool. So I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to go through the documents tomorrow some more and grab a few choice ones out that have information on it that we need to go over. Again, I don't really want to try to like jumble them all together because it gets a lot of stuff like misconstrued. But like with this one, we kind of had to have like all 4 documents open to compare and contrast all the information because it tracks from the make and model information, the surveillance footage, all the way down to everything that's being, submitted. So for these, we kind of had to, but for the rest of them, I don't know. I really want to try to get it in a way that's not just like everywhere. Because right now, everything is just everywhere. And we've really got to see, I know I can't receive them and I can't give them away either. So I don't know. I have my other channel that I never do anything on. It literally just sits there. That's why I never even talk about it. I don't do crap on it. Maybe I'll switch it and see if it changes something. I don't know. It's stupid. YouTube doesn't make anything easy. I know that's for sure. There's a YouTube channel using my name. It has 2 videos. People on a tropical island at night dancing and singing in French. What the shit? No, you know what's hilarious? Some psychopath that probably lives in his mom's basement and scratches his crotch all day, okay, literally created a YouTube account under the name Jules of No Trades Lies. And within 9 minutes of creating this boo-boo ass account with like Dr. Evil as the profile picture, came onto my channel to talk shit to me. I'm like, bro, you felt the need to create a channel just to come and talk shit to me? Are you for real? People are wild, bro. People are wildly insane. I mean, probably. I mean, bring it on, little Miss Gigi. Shit. People are crazy. It's like earlier in my community tab, somebody who's literally subscribed to me. I can see the red circle that shows that they are subscribed to me. Somebody who has been on my channel talking shit to me for like over a year now is subscribed to me and calling me like a grifter and all this stuff. And I'm like, bro, where the hell do I ever ask you to send me money? Where do I ever come over here and flash my PayPal and my Cash App and flash all these different things in your face to send me money? I don't even put a goal on my chat. It feels weird when people send me stuff. I grew up in a religious household where I was not allowed to accept gifts. I got the ever living hell beat out of me if I brought home a birthday card. So anytime anyone does anything like that, it freaks me out. Like getting on lives, the real reason why I never wanted to do this is because of how great everybody is. And I know that's going to sound so ridiculous, but I know how I am when people give me things. So seeing the super stickers and stuff like pass by, getting y'all's like support in all the different ways, it took a long time to get used to it. When I first created this, I didn't have none of this. I didn't have a PayPal, Cash App. Y'all asked me to make those things. Y'all asked me to make them because y'all knew more than I did about how YouTube takes like 50% of whatever we get. They take it. If I get a $50 super sticker, I get $24.50. I didn't know any of that and how any of that worked. Y'all told me about that. Like I was getting emails. I was getting comments saying, girl, you know, they're taking all your money. Make a PayPal, make a Cash App, do these things for the channel. I didn't have them. I think it's weird. I think it's weird. So whenever like all this stuff comes in, it freaks me out. It really does freak me out. So whenever people come in here saying stupid shit like that, I'm like, do you know the definition of a grifter? Do you know that these are brand new documents? Are you going over to News Nation and talking shit to them whenever they're going over the exact same documents at the exact same time that I'm going over the brand new documents? How do I fit into that definition? I would just love to know. Humans are hilarious. Humans are hilarious. Oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Well, that was my rant. My rant on humans. Well, thank you for being here since day one, Amber. Kylie was the first case. I still think about her all the time. There's got to be something. There's got to be something going on. The reason why she's been on my mind so much over the past few days. Something. I'm going to have to look and see What's going on with that? I would text SF Investigates, but I know there's a bunch of drama going on right now with the Sebastian Rogers case. Like his profile on Twitter is gone. Drama. So maybe I'll wait. I'll just wait and see what's going on. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Y'all get some sleep. We'll be live again tomorrow to go over some more documents and get some more truth. I mean, as much as I want information, I'm crossing my fingers we don't get any new documents until next week sometime so that we can catch up a little bit because I need a break. My brain needs a break. Everybody's brains need a break. We're all melting. We're all melting. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do my little closing thing here. Thank you so much for y'all being in here tonight. Thank you for the gifted memberships, the super stickers, the super chats, all of you guys that come in here and say, hey, I've been a member forever. I want to show you that I'm still supporting you. You guys are great. I love the fact that y'all are here. And it's just great that so many people are wanting the facts. Oh my God. If I can find a way to do it safely, then I will. Like, I don't trust people's abilities to hack things. So if I can do it safely, then I'll think about it. I'll think about it. I definitely will. I showed him all of the happy birthdays on his little donut cake picture and he loved it. Well, thank you for joining, official. Okay, I need to stop talking and actually get off of here so I can go watch some Grey's Anatomy and go to sleep. You guys have a great night. I will see you tomorrow. I will have the live out eventually here, probably tomorrow in the afternoon. I'll have the link up, so keep an eye out for that. Let me go ahead and do my little endings.
Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already.
Okay, you guys, have a great night. See y'all.